last we saw our heroes, they had tamed the Trailblazer Atomos.
Is that actually what he's called? The Trailblazer?
Fang calls him that.
Oh, right. Because I feel like that sounds like a Chevy commercial, right? Like
Yeah.
I know we're big Nissan heads here with the Nissan Snow or whatever the fuck.
The Nissan Snow.
Kicks.
This is, I guess, Pulse versus Cocoon would kind of be similar to like truck wars being like my Chevy Trailblazer's way better than your Ford
Pulse made.
Yeah. The Canyon Arrow of Grand Pulse, Atomos.
Did we look at the Thomas's Atomos?
We all know that
the tank engine.
We all know that Ford stands for Found on Road Dead, and also Pulse stands for Piece of Unfixable Lousy Shit Engine. Got him.
Right you are, Curtis.
But yeah, we I guess somehow, despite the dreadnoughts having stopped Atomos so we can board it, we can now just drive it all willy-nilly without the help of dreadnoughts.
I guess so. I didn't know if like we're just like letting them rip and being like, I'm pretty sure we're going in the right direction. It's fine.
Yeah, it stops.
Yeah, really a missed opportunity with like the Hope mini game that we played with the
This
the
Foul Sea will be making all stops north of Maharbara.
Missed opportunity for them to not give us like a Marble Madness and or Super Monkey Ball mini game in this. That would be fucking sick.
Kirby Tilt and Tumble.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy 13 pinball where you're just Atomos.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so we're in a giant what's the morph ball from
Hey, where do you shove things up a ball? This is not a productive area of discussion.
Yeah, we take it to the next area. There's no like cutscene for it or anything. It's just we're getting on.
We don't see what the inside is.
Everyone just like hops into the little like manhole there on the side. And it takes us directly to the Every F and FF podcast. My name is Carl Germ. With me as always,
it's Curtis.
It's Alex.
Y'all already know. He made it 20 episodes of this season.
21.
21? Yeah. Damn, I was actually pretty good. I was just shooting from the hip.
Welcome to all of our new listeners who decided to start listening to the podcast on episode 21.
Like I fucking
Final
hate Grand Pulse.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna skip all that shit.
I don't. Or there's like some people who are like, I hate Final Fantasy, but man, I really love Grand Pulse. Can't wait to listen to specifically this episode.
But goddamn, do I love the 21st episode of every podcast.
That's where we really hit our stride.
This is our 21st episode, as we all know.
But where are we? We are in the Sulyya Springs.
Yep,
I guess.
We're kind of on the outskirts of it. We really don't see it yet. So
it parks us on like it seems like we're in a big cavern that's either naturally formed or chipped away by Atomos, but we basically just get dropped off at another conveniently shaped cliff edge where we can kind of hop off in
a conveniently human accessible part of the world.
The pioneers used to ride these things for miles. But yeah, inside is a lovely inside cave / it's a cave spring. But
it's pretty cool.
Subterranean lake.
I love that everywhere we go, Cocoon is always kind of in frame, even if we're underground, it seems like.
Extremely in this area, like more so than ever. Because we are like...
There's a big opening in the ceiling, there's waterfalls coming down, and we can still see the sky through it, but we are still like underground with...
Yeah, we're underground in the way that there is land above us, but not directly above us all the time.
Yeah, when Fang turned into Ragnarok and destroyed, put a hole in Cocoon, she also put a hole in the ceiling of the subterranean lake so that we can see her handiwork on Cocoon as well.
When Fang put a hole in Cocoon, she also put a hole in the frog in the log and the dog in the bottom of the sea. We walk into Sulyya Springs, and the very first thing we see is Vanille sees Snow looking at Sarah's tear, right? Her crystal tear, right?
Yeah, it's a nice frame.
Yeah, he's holding it up to Cocoon.
I think we'll find this out in like later this episode where like there's this thing where they hold up Sarah's tear so it engulfs all of Cocoon. It's kind of a cool motif they start doing.
Cocoon's like inverted because of the way that like reflection and refraction works.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. We don't see that here, but in retrospect, I'm paying attention to it now. They did it with the Chocobo Chick where like, because we're so far away, we're like, what is important to us is constantly in shifting perspective, because like, you know, Saz is thinking about the Chocobo Chick or whatever, and then sees literally Chocobo Chick is like eclipsing Cocoon, which metaphorically and literally, but this is happening here again, but with Sarah, it seems.
I think that's just to show the immense power within Chocobo Chick to really show you how grandiose he is. Yeah, so Vanille sees Snow looking at it and asks him what he's doing, and he's kind of like, "Oh, I was talking to Sarah, you know, I guess like you do when you like go to a tombstone and talk to a loved one or something like that, right?
Memorial or like, yeah.
Reminds me of the time when I was a teenager that my mom came into my room, was like, I was talking to God and he wants you to go back to church, and I was like, oh. No.
Oh boy.
Don't do it. And also, that's not true. Like, none of that is good. You're just making me feel really awkward.
I think, yeah, she's projecting.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy.
But yeah, Vanille comments on the crystal. It's so pretty, right? Does he? Oh yeah, he hands it over to her first.
Yeah, he holds it above and then like drops it into her hands, which is the only way that he can hand it off because of how tall he is. He's like 7'9", so.
It's true.
Yeah, it falls so far from his hands to her hands that it like hits her hands and like leaves marks. So, like, oh my gosh, it picked up so much speed.
Got a little hot from the re-entry.
Exactly, yeah.
But yes, Vanille is kind of holding it up and looking, and we get another establishment shot of Cocoon through that like cave thing, and she's saying how pretty it is, and then she starts kind of reminiscing. She says, Sarah, you'd been crying, hadn't you, back when we first met?
Yeah, and we get a flashback sequence showing that Vanille and Sarah have previously met.
We had a suspicion, I think, because
we have a suspicion, but
the
not
first
sure.
scene we saw Sarah in, she's like, Sarah, is it true that like Lassie who fulfilled their focus gained eternal life? So like implying that they had met. That's something she said like in the future or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's also like she says that it's her, you know, she's like, oh, all this is my fault. It's my fault that people were turned into Lassie. And I think we hear that Sarah was in the vestige, right? Like people say like, oh, that's where it would happen. So like it kind of you're like, oh, maybe they did meet each other, but not sure.
Actually, that's what's coming up on the scene I'm actually wanting to ask about. But
it's interesting because this game did what it always does, where as I was watching this, I was just kind of thinking out loud and being like, well, wait, like, okay, so Sarah was in the vestige. When was this? Like, how is this in continuity with the other events that we already know of and stuff? And then I just read like a data log, and it was like the Vanille and Fang like caused the vestige to open or something, and Sarah saw it and decided to go in. It's like literally just there in one sentence where it's like, oh yeah, like this is before the events of her getting dropped off in the vestige with Snow and all of that, and it's like
right.
This is before the engagement altogether.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Which was like day 11 or 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And this is, so we transition over with Vanille's voiceover still going, but we do see the establishing shot of beautiful sunset in Bodum. It says day 9, seaside city of Bodum. And we hear Vanille say, this place was beautiful and my focus was to destroy it. I decided to do nothing and wait to become a Seath. Yeah,
but because I did do nothing, others got dragged into it. So it kind of her just reminiscing and being like, it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. And I was now facing a person that was literally damned by what I did, which was nothing.
Yeah, which is
that's a massive fucking sentence, but like anyone who's been following the story of the game would be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It is very tragic for Vanille, right? Because like she tries to do her best in the way that she's like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna kill all these people. I'm gonna refuse to kill all these people.
She has got her hand over the fucking lever of like the reverse trolley car problem, where she's like, if I pull this lever and do the thing, it kills a bunch of people. But if I do nothing, then all these people around me, like these close personal ones, are going to suffer.
The Vanille problem.
But yeah, so
this is day 9, which means it's after Snow like swore to like help.
Yeah, but like 2 days Snow takes her to the vestige.
Yeah, and but also that same day, Godot is heard hearing about two strange girls over by the vestige. So I'm like wondering where this kind of sits in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I think the two strange girls, obviously, if Godot saw Sarah, he would know who she is. So
yeah, right.
That was, yeah.
So probably maybe Vanille circled back to like.
Well, no, because I think this is this where Vanille and Fang had already disbanded. They
that was day 5.
Did Godot see or hear about them? I forget what he says. He might have been like, I heard about these two weird girls over there.
But yeah, it seems like probably
because they were fighting guards, right? So like word could have traveled to like, yo, damn, there's these two chicks in there that like fuck some dudes up.
Yeah, so if they're talking about that on day 7 after what happened at day 5, I'm curious when Fang and Vanille would have had a chance to go to the Bodum vestige.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just trying to think of. Like maybe Vanille came back and then she bumped into Sarah and met her. And all those other stuff, but
they were in the vestige when Sarah got branded.
Oh, were they?
They were in they were in the vestige when it was on Pulse, and then it was brought up to Cocoon, where it was in Bodum and being transported.
Fang mentioned Sarah on day 5. That's right. Like, remember what happened to that girl? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is.
They've. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if Sarah knows that they've crossed paths yet or not, or when this happened. I'm trying to get the nature of the relationship. They get into it a
little bit here because they kind of, as this conversation goes on, we'll see that Vanille and Sarah are kind of in similar. They're
this fucking game.
Sarah and Vanille are in the same situation, but Sarah doesn't know Sarah doesn't realize how close they are because she doesn't know that Vanille is a l'Cie, and she certainly doesn't know that Vanille turned her into a l'Cie.
Yeah.
On accident. My bad.
And they do a lot of talking past each other here as well, where like Vanille will be like...
There's a lot of subtext to each side of it, and it's completely going over one another's head.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
How's the scrape? Huh? Fine. Much better, thanks to you. Oh, sure you don't mind. I mean, I'm not keeping you from anything, am I?
Not at all. Don't worry. I could sit here for hours.
Yeah. I thought Sarah was going to be like, actually, me and my fucking dipshit boyfriend are fighting, so this is perfect for me, just chilling on the beach. But she's like, oh, no, not at all. Don't worry. I could sit here for hours. And then Vanille's like, hey, Sarah, do you think we'll meet again? Oh, we might. Sure. Vanille says, see, the thing is...
Sure is something that you say to somebody when you really mean no.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. It means the opposite of what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, the thing is, I was chasing after someone, and there's something I really need to apologize for, but I just can't even, I can't ever find the words. And Sarah's like, gee, that's got to be tough, huh? Vanille starts talking about how she had nightmares about it, and Sarah gives her the best advice that Vanille's ever heard.
Oh my goodness.
Which is, well, if it's too much trouble to deal with, face it later. And Vanille's
it's all
like,
Sarah's fault.
Really? Says, sometimes things seem easier when you look at them from a distance, you know? Vanille's like, yo, does that shit really work? And Sarah's like, yo,
bro.
Good question. I'll let you know. Actually, I've been trying to keep something at a distance myself lately.
Some of this dialogue feels a little bit like The Room in some ways. Like,
yeah.
Well, maybe you should have a girl, Mark.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I have one already. I don't know yet.
Like talking about something extremely sensitive, but really wants to talk about it, but can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Just
I was so like engrossed in this scene that I didn't even really like know. Like to me, it was just all hitting, and I was like, "Yo, fuck yeah!" But yeah, she's like, and Sarah's like, oh, "Okay, like yeah, don't laugh." But I had a bad dream, like a really bad dream, and it was that I destroyed the world. It was terrifying. I needed some time alone. It had me so scared I tried to run away. But then my boyfriend, he came chasing after me. That's when I understood. Running away and leaving behind the people you care about, that isn't love. Though you might just want to keep them safe, shutting them out of your life only hurts them more. The point is, I have people I can count on. I'll make it through. And Vanille's like, oh yeah, I think you'll be fine. And Sarah's like, you will too. You'll find the words, I'm sure of it. And Vanille just starts apologizing to
Vanille's
Sarah
like,
for turning her into a l'Cie.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that that's,
I think when she was saying like, oh, there's someone that I've been trying to apologize to, but I can't find the words. I think that kind of has a double meaning. It's obviously Sarah right here, but I think it's also Fang, where she's been lying to Fang about forgetting her focus and she can't find the words. And now that is just repeating itself here in front of her. And she's just like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What else can I say? And Sarah's just like, oh, I'm not the one you should be asking, Vanille. You'll know what to say when you find your friend. You'll see. And it's like, oh, so sad, dude.
Yeah. So Vanille and Sarah have met before. Vanille presumably gets the attitude of dealing with it later from Sarah, which I think is a funny thing.
It's very cute. Also, I wanted to point out, I don't know if we talked about this before. I feel like I would have remembered it. We get a good shot of Sarah's earrings, and they're little cats, and they got dangly parts that are the little tails.
Oh, I didn't even notice
It's like a little cat sitting there with his tail, like one of the clocks, like one of the
very
clocks.
Cute.
Extremely.
Also, she has got huge shoes though too.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. They're on an island.
Good fashion.
But back in the present, back in the Sulyya Springs, I guess Vanille's recounting this because Snow is like, "Oh my God, you met Sarah! Like you actually met her before." So I'm guessing that like Vanille kind of told her, and Vanille's like, "Yeah, I tried to hide our focus, and she ended up a LaCie. Like I wanted to say I'm sorry, didn't get a chance to." And like Snow for just a second is like acts like he's gonna get pissed, and he's like, we'll rescue her. I can't stay mad at you.
I love how everyone has every reason to hate everyone else in this party. Like there's so much of it, and they're just like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I think that's the personal growth that they all get during the course of the game, is they learn to be like, it's cool. Just let it go.
I'm also watching back the cutscene of Sarah and Vanille, and there's a part where Sarah like extends her hand when she's when Vanille's apologizing to her and everything. And Vanille goes to grab it, and for like a couple of frames, it just looks like they're hard styling, which is extremely sick. I'm gonna send it to you guys.
Please do.
Just imagine if Vanille just like every single time she was about to like get her comeuppance, so it did. So she'd like by this point she has like a black eye and like a few like bullet wounds.
I love so there was that viral like anime scene. I don't know what anime it was from, like an 80s or 90s one from the looks of it, and it's just the girl like did something that like completely fucked up everything, and they're like coming down hard on her. They're like, oh, like I can't believe you did this, and she just goes and she like puts her hands on her head and like sticks out her tongue all cute. Like it's like just Vanille. It's like, what do you mean, like
oops,
you fucking ruined everyone's life? And she's like, yeah, dude.
Sarah, you son of a bitch.
Sarah looks at a fal'Cie and she's like, if it can bleed, we can kill it.
This is them in the next game, right? When
That's
just
right.
like everyone gets really fucking jacked. And
just FYI for the listener, I posted a picture of that. Like, is it Predator? Is that
that's like Predator.
The big handshake or whatever? Yeah, like next to Carl's picture. We'll tweet it later. It's fine.
I was gonna say, I don't know, Alex, because from what I understand in this game, Sarah is a crystal, so how could there be a next game where she's a character that's playable or whatever?
Well,
I don't know. Snow said it'll be fine. Right?
Yeah, because
and
Vanille and Fang were a crystal, and now
he's been right the whole time.
I have been on record for saying I believe in my heart of hearts for the same reason that he does, because I'm dumb as shit. And he's just accidentally right about all this shit, dude.
That's the best kind of right.
He's a broken clock.
Yeah, exactly. He's a broken clock when it counts, and that is all that matters.
Accidentally correct is the best kind of correct.
But
Vanille brings up something interesting. She says, I think that Sarah saw the same vision of Ragnarok that we did, which means Dicely, and this is Vanille talking, this isn't just me saying the same thing I've been saying for weeks, which means Dicely had to be lying when he explained her focus. I think she beat it. She handed Cocoon over to us, and that's what made her turn to Crystal. And Snow is just kind of like walking on at this point as she says this, and Snow just says, yep, I know. It's so good, dude.
It was like, this is basically a revelation he had with Reigns, I think, where it's like, yeah, both her and Reigns probably figured out how to kind of sidestep the
with the
explicit rules of Lacidum.
The Lindsay crystallization versus the Buckingham.
That's right.
I guess I should have said the Lindsay versus the Stevie. That's the joke I meant to make. Oh, well.
But we then move on into the Sulyya Springs proper, And the very first thing that we can do, pretty much,
You could be my Sulyya Springs.
on the left, there's like a little zone that you can stand. It looks like there's an action there, and if you go there, and you might
actually
have
don't
to,
know there's an action unless you stand
Yeah,
there.
you
'cause
gotta actually like go up to it.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
doesn't show up on the mini map. I realize it's actually like a little hidden scene.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
easily miss this.
But if you go up to the water, a foul sea appears, and it's just like a whale. I guess it's like a whale.
It's a big chonky of fish. That's for sure.
A big chonko fish, and yeah, depending on who you have as your party leader, they say something silly, right? Like they'll have like some like version of like a fish joke or something.
Lighting's like, oh, they grow them big here. I like
they grow them big here.
I like Saw's like, wow, there's a lunker.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lunker.
But Vanille's like, that foul sea protects the waterfront. And Fang's like, must think we came to stir up trouble. And Saz says, well, if that's what it thinks,
She must think you're
shouldn't we
after one of her eggs. I only ate one.
Saz is like, well, if that's what it thinks, shouldn't we probably be heading off now? And Hope's like, it looks too late for that. Because it starts like glowing and like letting off a big burst of energy.
Yeah,
It's like, oh shit, it's pissed.
It's weird because like this is the cutscene before a boss, right? Like this is the kind of cutscene you would get before you fight a boss, where it's like, oh, here it comes, because Hope's like, oh, it's too late to get away, and then
And Lightning starts like coming up with like a battle strategy. Like it could be clumsy out of water if we can lead it onto dry land, and then something
Yeah.
it just submerges again, and she's like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
But the platform is full of Sahagin and new items raise, though.
Yeah.
So we have opportunity to get new treasure with.
And notably, it's this type of Sahagin that's like a level above the ones that we had fought in the missions previously.
Yeah.
Which I finally went back to that mission 16 to make what I thought would be short work of it, only to realize like an hour after grinding that I was completely doing the wrong thing. I just kept using Ravager instead of Commando, and they are like I was reading the
They're
fucking
very
menu
resistant
wrong.
to yeah.
So they were just spawning in new guys faster than I could kill them, and that's why like I had so much
Yeah.
trouble with it. But luckily that paid off, because then I was very well prepared for these ones, which aren't really any harder than those ones, because there's less of the enemies that spawn in additional ads, and just harder Sahagins.
Yeah. But yeah, those are here.
There's a little bit of foreshadowing about this too. If you immediately look at the data logs about the Sulyya Springs, where it says the bioluminescent plants that line the waterfront represent a particular danger to unwary visitors. Their beautiful, ghostly plays of light often draw unsuspecting onlookers to the water's edge, where the area's guardian, foul sea, is quick to strike.
Whose name is Bismarck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bismarcky.
Yeah, Bismarcky. Bismarcky Mark.
Well, yeah, Bismarck just goes back under the water, though.
Bismarcky Mark says, oh, man, Ragnarok would have went down differently if I was up there on the Cocoon.
Yeah.
honestly, good on him just to kind of hang out. And it's like, I'm just going to chill.
I think if you
He
read
comes
his
up to the
foul
water
sea
and just
entry
goes,
as well,
girl, you got what I need.
there's an interesting bit of like world building about Bismarck, which is the way that it terraforms. Like obviously we know Atomos, which is just constantly building and burrowing and making these like wild tunnels, and we keep hearing about these foul sea that are like terraforming, right?
Yeah.
The way that Bismarck terraforms is through like I forget the specific words, but it's like the grueling and time-consuming process of water erosion.
Yeah.
This is the watches paint dry foul sea. It's watching the pot, waiting for it to boil.
There's just like foul sea for like normal natural elements. There's like a foul sea that's just slowly spewing out like carbon dioxide, and it's like, I will heat the world up slowly. They're all like, oh damn.
One of these days.
When will the governments of the world get together and make a plan for destroying the climate change foul sea?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to pull up the... There he is. He's a little funky grub.
Oh, Bismarck?
He's got a weird shape to him.
He does.
He does not... I guess it makes sense because he's a fish and a foul sea, but he does look like just like a big air bladder.
His front half looking a little Sin-ish, I think. Or maybe that's his back half. I'm
I
not
can see
sure.
that.
Oh yeah, someone in the chat was saying, oh, it's Sin Jr. It's a baby Sin.
Yeah, little baby Sin.
Well, Sin spawn.
That's right.
No,
Yeah.
I think this is the one that kind of looks like a
It's a peanut.
hermit crab at some point. There's like a shell when it like submerges back into the water, I believe.
Yeah, it has like when we see it go back in the water, it does have like a weird peanut shaped body. So like it's fun. Its ass is just this big fat dumper.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Thick, dumpy fal'C.
Probably tastes delicious.
All my peanut shaped homies can agree.
It's probably the best tasting fal'C we've met so far. I bet.
Some like escargot.
Yeah,
or something.
probably so.
Big fish. Yeah. Then there's like a few other things around the springs we can fight. There's a few items. Like abysmal scales. There's an aquabane brooch.
Yeah, there's some like moderately difficult battles around here. Like you were saying with the Sahagin are kind of tough. They do that thing where they attack you like 10 times in a row with pretty damaging physical attacks.
Yeah, they can also I think deal some debuffs to you or something.
Yeah, this is another place that like I know I've been doing most of the fights with Hope. He came in handy for having like bar thunder and stuff like that and protect. They like just things to like keep them off of you for a little while or not do so much damage.
Let's see. There's a Minar stone.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of those.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, I have started now to upgrade my weapons. I don't remember if I said this last time, but I've actually like at this point I've gotten enough gil to buy like a Perovskite or two, which like most of the weapons I'm using need one of those to like transcend. So I've changed like one of Lightning's weapons. I advanced the Razor Carbine. I turned that into the next one, which is like her magic sword or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Razor Carbine. Yeah. I did the exact same thing to take on that Mission 16 because I was like, okay, my strat's not working. I need to go further and really dumped a lot of weapon levels into it and like studied up on the end result of all of that. And I'm like, my God, this looks like so much bullshit.
Previous podcast guest, Steven, was absolutely correct, though, about buying those, what are they, the particle accelerators? Is that, no, the ultra compact reactor.
Yeah, the ultra compact reactor. That is like the best.
50,000 gil one.
Yeah, that's the strat for like the best gil to level weapon level up.
Once you change, for instance, if you're using the Razor Carbine like I was, Carbine? I don't know how to say it.
I think
whatever.
It's pronounced carbine, but I always said carbine.
Yeah. Once you upgrade that to its next form, like the amount of CP... Wait, CP?
XP.
The amount of XP that it takes to get mastered again is like on the order of 100 times what mastering the first version is like. It's so much more. But if you get your weapon to 3 times experience, it only costs like 4 of those to max it out completely. Like it's so efficient using those reactors.
Yeah.
So like
they're
incredible.
Really nice. If you want to get into this yourself, I highly recommend going to gamercorner.net.
Love gamercorner.net
because they got a nice little breakdown of everything you need to know, the starting level, how much experience it will cost, how much experience it'll take to master that, and how much gil value that is. So like you can pretty much master some of this for like under 30,000 gil.
Yeah, it's great. I was reading a guide that had, it's kind of like a post-game guide for like mastering everything, because I don't know how many like listeners are playing along or are going to want to, but if you want to get every trophy or every achievement, there's one called the Treasure Hunter, and it is that you need to have every item in the game at least once. So you can like sell an item that you already had, but you need to get all of them at least once. And there's a good breakdown on exactly how much gil you'll need for everything. Like if you have nothing and you haven't upgraded anything, it gives you like a breakdown of what items to buy and how much gil total to have to be able to do everything. It's pretty cool. So highly recommend that.
Now, how does that work with final weapons? Because I guess now is probably a good enough time to mention it, since we're on the topic.
We can purchase the item that we need to get the final weapon now, so maybe it does make sense.
So like all of this is doable if you have the gil for it. We just don't really have an efficient way of getting gil all that much right now, as far as I know. The amount of gil that we need, but every single weapon that your character has, every one that you pick up can be upgraded to different tiers. There's the regular ones that you start out with can get to like level like 15, I think, or something, or like 20, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then it gets the star rank, which we've talked about before. Then you use one of these like conduit materials or whatever they're called, like the transformational catalysts, to upgrade it to a tier 2 version of the weapon, which then can go up to 60 levels and then get starred.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can also get it to a tier 3, which takes one of these catalysts again. And that will turn
that
it
catalyst
into,
costs like 2 million gil, by the way. It's very expensive.
And once you get that, you have like the final tier of the ultimate weapon that that character can have.
Yeah, and
but
sorry, go ahead.
Every single weapon that they have can be transferred up to the ultimate weapon of that class. And like it'll keep the passive thing. So like Curtis and I are using the Razor Edge, which is like the magic sword. But if there's like the one that has like the better, like the weird like instant stagger bonus, you can upgrade that to be the same weapon, but with that skill. But you have to go through that entire tree as well.
I figured out how to do that, by the way, just through digging around in this section. The stagger lock weapons, they're already ready to go to have instant stagger. It's one of those like accessory combination things. So if you just go through your accessories, you can find one to add that will change stagger lock into randomly instant stagger.
Oh, wow.
So you don't actually have to like upgrade it or anything like that.
Interesting. But yeah, I'm wondering if the trophy means you have to get every single...
You only need one ultimate weapon for each character.
Thank
it doesn't
fucking
have to
God.
be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be everything. And
that just seems insurmountable and not fuck off. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So the big thing is getting the item, the trapezohedron, which is what you need to upgrade anything into a ultimate weapon. So every ultimate weapon requires the trapezohedron. It's 2 million gil to purchase, which is a lot. But if you're just trying to get the achievement, you can make a save to just do some experimenting with or whatever. You make a save, you just use one to craft Vanille's ultimate weapon, and then you disassemble Vanille's ultimate weapon into 3 more of them. And then you can make 3 more ultimate weapons, and you just get your trapezohedrons that way.
Oh, nice. So it's like popping a Deceptisol and then running into a battle and hitting retry, and you got your Deceptisol back.
It kind of, yeah.
But and then you get 3 more.
Yeah, so what like the guide I was reading suggests getting everything except the ultimate weapons, and then making a save, getting all the ultimate weapons, getting your trophy, and then going back to your save where you didn't dismantle like your most precious items.
Yeah, damn.
So,
well, that's fucking crazy. Like,
but,
still a better upgrade system than Demon Souls, if you'd believe it. But anyway, that's our little weapon corner.
That's crafting corner.
Crafting corner.
I'm currently looking for somewhere that is selling Sarah's earrings because they are an actual product that they made.
Yo, fuck yeah, dude.
Well, we were talking about
yeah, we gotta get
equipment.
Dave collecting. We gotta get the guys from the Adventures in Collecting podcast on that.
Yeah.
15 years too late, but they also like all the jewelry in this game is available or was available at least to purchase at some point.
Fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna learn how to make jewelry and start making this shit.
But in Sulyya Springs, I think if we've been following the missions up to this point, there is a mission 19 in this area.
Yeah,
called Triangle of Tragedy, which is for another Uridimu.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, this one, it basically, the premise of this one... Wait, hold on. Did we talk about this one last time?
I think we might have talked about this one a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about this
the
one last time.
The tragic backstory of it.
That was the last thing that we said last time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I remember you saying the word princess, which is in it.
Yeah, if we're forgetting, it's basically just the rundown is that this Seath realized that he was involved in a love triangle and that the love of his life was also, I think, a lassie, and so was her
can't tell if like
lover or something, and it was basically like, in order to protect them and make sure that they can be happy together, I must fulfill the focus of the dipshit who is like
who's actually going to do it. Yeah. But yeah, so we can do that here. I think that battle's up on like the top level of the springs. Yeah.
There's that little branch that goes up to the right if you're taking the main path.
Yeah. And then along the way, we get like a little cutscene, depending on who is the party leader. They say different things.
Oh.
Yeah, we get like a pan down. We see the lovely, because now we're like above ground again. And then depending on whoever your party leader is, it'll be them kind of looking up to the sky, speaking to whoever they are like speaking to themselves too, I guess.
I love the differences between them, because they all have something like kind of like meaningful to say to whoever they care about. Like you're saying, like three of them speak to Sarah, where they're like, "Oh, Sarah, are you okay? Are you watching over us?" Blah blah blah. And what I love about Hope is he is fucking eyes on the fucking prize mission, where like instead of talking to somebody like precious to him, like saying Saz talks to Dodge, Hope's like, "Oh, you're watching us, Spartandalus, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
I know you can read my thoughts, boy."
Meow 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 meow.
This actually, he said this again. If there's one room in the Ark where he, I think, depending on like who's your party leader, will say something like, Lighting says like, "Oh yeah, I guess these machines aren't built for peace or whatever." But for some reason, Hope also says, "Are you watching us, Bartandalus?"
Well, get a load of this. Just like moons up at Cocoon, like just pulls the pants down.
But Fang is like kind of like Fang just talks to Cocoon as like, "Yeah, still with us, Cocoon. I wonder what's going on
I'll
there."
finish the job one day, you fucking piece of shit.
And then whoever's your second person in your party will come up behind and propose that we camp out for the night.
Right.
Yeah, Vanille's like, "We should spread the blankets here."
Yeah.
She loves laying on a blanket on the cold, hard ground.
That's how Grand Pulse does it, baby.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, there's all these little missable lines of dialogue that you just can't get unless you replay it with different parties.
Yeah, that's a very Final Fantasy thing. Like obviously 7 did that a lot, and others as well. And I love that. But my brain also works in a way where I'm like, fuck, I want to see them all, but like I will never like save and then go through. Like luckily we have YouTube now where we can just watch all of them if we wanted to, but like the completionist, the story completionist in me is just like, oh, I need to see it all.
But yeah, this transitions into a kind of lovely FMV, which I think shows up in a lot of the trailers and stuff. It was part of promotional material. This is like the middle point, big cutscene, I think, for this game.
Yeah, this is the middle point of the game. We finally made it.
Yeah. I feel like this is another like graphics on display kind of cutscene here.
Oh yeah,
like,
instead of like for sure.
Yeah, instead of like action packed though, it's very like
it's dreamy.
Yeah, it's very dreamy and very like pleasant. Like you see like the wind blowing through the grass and shit like that.
Yeah, like the daffodil seeds almost, except they're gigantic.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant dandelion, I think, not daffodil.
Yes, dandelion. The poofies.
Yes.
They really like, because it is like sunset, there's like beautiful lighting and there's these weird crystal trees scattered along the horizon line. It's like, and it makes you feel very small because everything is just ginormous compared to like, here on Earth. So it makes us feel very small.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they're almost as tall as Snow, these giant things that we see.
And there's so we see Snow standing out in on this field, right? And he's looking up at Cocoon. I guess talking to Sarah, quote unquote, again. And Lightning
Sarah says she wants to talk.
Yeah. Lightning comes up behind Snow, and Snow's like, "Oh, Sarah says she wants to talk," and it like hands her the tear, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where we get that shot of Cocoon where you can kind of see it upside down because of the way it's reflecting. Is there like water in the crystal?
I was gonna ask. It's leaking, right?
Let us drink the water that's in this Seath tier crystal.
Which I mean, like, I get, like, it could be, like, crystals coming off the bottom, but I think it's supposed to be, like, water.
Yeah, it looks like it's, like, full of, like, some sort of liquid.
Oh, also, we do get an answer to a question in this scene and the next area that we had. Pulse does have a son.
No, it doesn't. It's a myth.
The sun is out there.
It's a lie.
We made it up.
From the Erd tree.
So. God, I still haven't beaten Elden Ring. Anyway, yes. So she looks at the crystal. Like you're saying, you see the inversion of Pulse or whatever.
It's a really cool shot. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and Snow's just like, oh, she wants to talk. She'd probably prefer if you skipped the lecture. And
and he like grabs one of the dandelion poofs out of the air or whatever.
Yeah. You get a cool shot of his tattoo of his brand, which is hella open.
Eye open. Yeah, they are like at the step before becoming a Seath right now. And then Lightning fucking attacks his ass with her blade out and everything.
Yeah.
She like strikes the dandelion poof so it kind of explodes in his face, or at least cause him to flinch and fall backwards.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah, and Lightning's just like, once we're home, what's your plan? Also, real quick, I want to point out, Snow's got a little bit more stubble than we're used to.
I do like a good stubbly Snow.
I want to see him with a full fucking beard. I know we won't, but I love all the stubble. Even though Swanzig did say his beard game's a little weak, which I do have to agree with Swanzig on that one.
Yeah, I had to compare this to the earlier FMVs because this is pretty close. We don't get as close to him.
Yeah, I think it's implying they've been in the wilderness for a little while. He doesn't really have a way to shave and is going full mountain man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lightning's basically doing the kind of protective father kind of routine with instead with a shotgun, she's got a gun blade. Like,
are you gonna marry my daughter? Yeah.
But yeah, it's like once you're home, what's your plan? You're getting married, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sarah wants to know.
Oh yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I talked to Sarah on the tier that you gave me, dude. Like, new phone, who dis? But yeah, Snow says, don't worry, this tier will be her last. I'll make sure of that, which is very sweet, very corny. But hey, it was the right thing to say because
it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, Lightning's down with it. She says, that's all I needed to know. And Snow's like, we will see her, right? And Lightning like gets kind of pissed and like,
it's like, don't doubt.
Yeah, she like puts her fist
there.
like up to his back, I think, right? Like she's gonna like.
I kind of like this. It's like they do seem more like siblings now than ever in this scene because she's like kind of like teasing, but also being very supportive. It's like there's no room for doubt.
Yeah, she's like nudging him with her fist, and she's like, "Don't you fucking say it." We're like, you were the one who convinced me that this is possible. Like, you cannot doubt this right now. This has to work.
Yeah.
This has to be a thing.
It's a nice little inversion because I
Your
feel
rock
like
for brains is a thing where we were counting.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like it's a nice little inversion because I feel like a lot of what drives the party is lying to each other and just being like, no, we can do it, even though there's no reason
lying to one
think.
another and also eating hot chip.
And eating hot chip, the two things that the party is good at. But like, yeah, but they're always like trying to spur each other onwards by being like, no, it will be okay, even though they have no reason to think that it will be okay, and it never is. And as soon as like one guy who's always like, no, it'll be all right, it's like, maybe it won't be all right. The other one's like, no, it will be all right. You have to be on board. Like, we all have to be on board or we will just quit. Like,
yeah,
we do this.
exactly.
So,
I mean, we are kind of unknown part of the story where like we're kind of going towards something we're not really sure of, so I'm sure like they're kind of losing focus and losing perspective on like what they're kind of going towards because everything's so open. You feel kind of overwhelmed with just kind of how uncertain things are. Also because we're just we don't even know what's happening on Cocoon right now.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening on Cocoon. There's nobody on Grand Pulse, even though like according to Vanille and Fang, they're like, oh yeah, there's people all over Grand Pulse, but there's nobody anywhere, and we're just question mark looking for a way to get rid of our brands, I guess. You know what I mean? We're like, yeah, it's very hard to like continue onward when they don't have like a discernible goal at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
This feels very mid-season anime where we're like trying to find the One Piece.
It's where the beach episode happens.
Hell fucking yeah.
Everyone, it's probably real stinky in their clothes that they've been wearing for weeks.
Dude, I've been wearing these clothes all day, and I played Final Fantasy 13 for like 5 hours today. I'm starting to stink in these things. I can't imagine how bad they all smell.
I always think about this after every boss fight. The entire party just looks totally cool. Like I figure they would just all be completely like disheveled and just like got the shit beat
it's
out
the same
of them.
way
like,
that the HP
like
refresh.
Hope you died and were revived like 10 times the last day.
Hope literally passed on into death multiple times.
Listen, anytime
It looks great.
anytime we finish a battle, the HP fal'C refills our HP, and it's the same thing with the shower fal'C. It just cleans us all up.
Yeah, the shower fallacy. God, yeah, you imagine like I hate that idea of a shower fallacy. There's like like the knob in your shower has one of those like creepy screaming faces on it.
It's like fucking, it's like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Everything is sentient. It's just like, oh no.
Everything
Oh
is
man, toilety. I'm sorry about this one. I had Taco Bell. Oh no.
But yeah, it's like Pee-wee's Playhouse, except everything looks like the fucking Bodum vestige where it's just screaming like all the time, and it just looks like it's in terrible pain.
Is Pee-wee just a puppet of his like inanimate object like creatures that are alive and sentient?
Are you saying that Pee-wee has a focus?
I think that Pee-wee has a focus, and if he doesn't, have the word of the day each time, he will turn to crystal or he will turn into a Seath and kill us all.
Yeah, he turns into a Seath stone, and some other traveler has to like learn the word of the day.
Bonsai.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. He's got to get his bicycle back. That's his focus.
You know, we ought to start calling you Cowboy Curtis. And you guys can call me Zombie. Anyway, we do get a nice establishing shot again of Cocoon, and it's like got weird, like almost looks like cobwebs or something, like coming out of like the crack of it and like hanging down.
That's why I thought it was like water, just kind of vapor kind of streaming down, because I'm sure the atmosphere of this thing is completely fucked from having a hole in it. Because if you look carefully on it, you actually do see, like, even though there's a hole there, it still continues around like as if there's an atmosphere around the hole. It's really fascinating.
Do you think it's like a soda bottle where it gets condensation on the outside?
It might be, yeah. Imagine a soda bottle that is a nice jawbreaker size, and you eat it, and to drink it, you eat it like a jawbreaker.
I'm also wondering if, like, for some reason, because I don't know how big or close Grand Pulse is in relation to Cocoon, if like the gravity of Grand Pulse pulls some of like the water vapor down.
Oh, maybe.
So it is.
Halsey and
so it's
Elon
slowly...
Musk said that we're going to have a functioning economy on the outer rim of Cocoon by 2020, and then he bought Twitter for some reason.
Yeah, after the scene, we kind of move on to, I guess, the next area.
Yeah, the area outside of Taejin's tower.
Mm-hmm.
Taejin.
Yeah, and you would like guys like to...
Oh, yeah, this seems like a good break time.
I'm reviewing the footage of my playthrough today of this. There's a save point right here. I used that, and then I promptly went to take a piss.
You took a break while playing it, and we can take a break on the podcast.
Perfect synchronicity.
Also, the next area is like kind of like nice and a little dusty, and it's kind of like bright outside. So like good place to take a break, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Very pleasant.
See you in the basement of the Alamo.
This is the part where when I came back to my desk after grabbing some snacks and shit, the camera was just like Fang had stepped in front of it, so you can just see like an up close render of her weapon, and it's got a bunch of writing on it. And I was like, ooh, interesting. It looks like the Lord of the Rings font. So the Pulsian font, I would imagine. But
well, Alex, go ahead and get translating.
That's what I said to him when it was. I was like, "Yeah, was Alex here? Can he translate this?"
I meant to like. I'm really pissed. I have the third Ultimania coming in the mail next week, and I know that none of them have concept art for the main characters. I was like, why? It's like, why? Like, I need to like know. Like, I want. Like, I know exactly what Jill's glasses look like down to like the screws used in like the frames, but I don't know what like Vanille's necklaces and shit are made of.
I need to be able to order from Warby Parker the fucking Jill Nabat glasses.
Maybe there's a fourth Ultimania out there you have to get.
I mean, there is the archives, which is mostly art, so who could say?
Who can say?
Surely not us.
Goddamn you, Square Enix. Yeah, so this area, so as soon as we walk into the next area, right, we get a big shot of the next area we'll be heading to, Taejin's tower, which is mostly a big tower, but half of it has fallen over. So,
Thank fucking God half of it fell over as well, by the way, because the part that fell over...
it's already like 12 fucking floors tall.
The part that fell over looks a lot bigger than the part that we have access to.
Yeah, in the data logs, it's like no one knows how high it stretched, and it's like, well, it shouldn't be too hard to find out. It's all there still. Yeah, like you could just imagine what the horizontal part would be on top of the other part, and that would be how high it was.
Fucking giant to just pick it up and put it back. Like,
yeah, what's Titan been doing? Get over here, put that thing back up.
Just give Snow an afternoon and a weird fucking piece of metal, and he'll make it work.
Snow is like Atlas holding Cocoon up with his giant 7-foot body.
I don't know when it starts happening, but I know when I was doing missions, I backtracked from here, and that giant is just hanging out on the outskirts of the map now.
Yep.
You cannot engage with him yet. You're too small and inferior. But he is fucking huge.
Yeah, we need to get a plug suit first and then go inside the Ava unit, and then we can try and fight him.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, so first we have to like kind of go around a little canyon side to be able to get to the tower. And I like this area quite a lot. I like a good dusty area.
Yeah, we do get a cutscene of a Fal'Cie.
Oh, we do. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So we see more of the, bird enemies that we've been avoiding or fighting, depending on who you are and how you choose to live your life.
These ones are called Amphisbaena.
Yeah, but Saz says, doesn't exactly look like it's going to be a leisurely stroll, and then Vanille's like, oh shit, it's like the Fal'Cie, and Hope says, oh.
Yeah, Dahaka. Yeah.
We just head through this Fal'Cie's lair to get to Urba, right? And Lightning says, what's another Fal'Cie at this point, huh? But yeah, like it's like flying around.
I'm
and
getting
like
so
attacking.
tired of these Fal'Cie.
Yo, it's fucking those like bird raptors up.
Yeah, like
it's
there's like
just killing them.
explosions and shit. Like it looks like it's just accidentally touching them, like with the back of its tail, and then an explosion happens and it just like kills them.
I like that during this scene, while it's flying around and being very menacing, Vanille's jumping up and down and like beckoning it over with her hands. She's like, "Come here!"
Yeah, dude, she wants to end her pain and just have like the mission. Like she doesn't want anyone turning into Ragnarok again. She doesn't want to usher in destruction.
Yeah. Oh boy. But yeah, there's not too much to do out here, I think, right?
No, there's a Seath Stone for Taejin's Tower, the Palisades, which is also an area of either New York or Jersey where there's a mall as well, the Palisades. But it's a goblin chieftain.
Yeah. Who I think we've already had a mission for.
I was wondering if Hope wrote this. I was like, is this Hope's Seath Stone? Because the paragraph starts, when Father told me he was leaving us, I struck him full in the face. I can still remember the look in his eyes to this day, just as I'll never forget the way he picked himself up and left without a word. I found out later that he had turned to crystal. It pains me now to think of how I never made any attempt to understand how he suffered under the burden of his focus. That's why I must triumph over the goblin chieftain near Taejin's Tower. So someday I can tell him that I'm sorry. It's like this whole person's life was altered by this focus, which is literally just like, oh yeah, this is the third fucking mission where we have to kill this guy. This enemy type that we can also just go and fight in the field if we want.
How many times did this teach you this lesson, man?
You know what's weird about all these too is that like presumably none of these Seath Stones actually like lost to their to the thing they were trying to slay, right? Because then they would just be dead and not a Seath. Yeah. So something happened on the way as he was like 50 feet away. And
he stubbed his toe and that shocked him he stepped on a Lego and just seethed out. I was thinking too, like, what if we all just turned into Seath Stones? Like, we're just wandering around aimlessly on Pulse, and then turn into Seaths, and then we turn into Seath Stones after like 100 years or whatever. And then people are like, "Oh, let me go see what this is." And it's like, what? Their focus was what? To fucking destroy Cocoon?
Destroy Cocoon. Yeah.
Or would that be the focus? Perhaps there's another way.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean that there's not really too much to say about that fight. I don't think I didn't really have any issues with it, and I'm apparently the king of having problems with missions.
But yeah, it's not too bad. Kill a guy, and then we enter the tower.
Yeah, you were saying the area around is pretty good, though. Did you have anything you wanted to point out specifically, or?
No, it just seems like a nice place to hang out.
I love the design of this tower because during the establishing shot of it, it looks like it's kind of made these kind of fins, like these kind of ridges, kind of going up it vertically. But if you see it looked like they had there was like brickwork that was surrounding that part of it. Like that's just like the framework of it. So even though it has this kind of almost lightsabery looking, that wasn't really what it looked like when it was full, in one piece or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is the way that this tower is fallen over too. It like is perfectly.
Fang did that.
Yeah.
I guess she just did it with one big blade swing because it's perfectly horizontally cut and then tipped over.
It's like the fucking mini game in Pokemon Stadium where you're the Scyther and the Caesars. Just cutting the log perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you could just, if you were Titan, I suppose, just tip it back up. It would be fine. Like nothing of the tower is actually broken. Like there's no rubble anywhere. And other than just like part of it has fallen over, but the fallen over part is still completely intact. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
I got some interesting field dialogue from Fang where she just says, "You can't pussy." Jesus,
Fang said, "Pussy."
You can't pussy. No, she says,
You won't do it, pussy.
You won't do it, pussy.
I did not mean for there to be the break there, but you can't pussyfoot around everything.
just episode title. You can't, comma, pussy.
Yeah, PU apostrophe C.
It reminds me of a TikTok that my
yeah,
pussy.
P apostrophe CIE.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a TikTok that my fiance showed me of, I think it's E.G. Daily and Tara Strong doing their character voices. So like Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, I think Bubbles and Buttercup, and Bubbles is like, "Oh, check it out, there's a pussy willow over there." And apparently like on TikTok you can get like banned or like thrown into algorithm jail if you say pussy, so people like have to avoid saying that. But it's like Bubbles and Buttercup saying it. It's like, "Oh, you can't say pussy," and they just keep saying it. It's very funny.
I love that when you approach it is we see these like kind of, it's one like the like Seven Wonders of the World, but it's like this giant tall stone gate that's kind of carved into this cliffside.
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by those fucking...
It's the temple at the end of the Holy Grail movie, the Indiana Jones one.
I thought you were talking about Argonath from Lord of the Rings with the two giant like statue guys that like has like
or it's any dungeon entrance from A Link to the Past.
Yo, hell yeah.
Because I feel like several of those have like two little statues on either side of like an entrance.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of...
This is the one where we fight the Moldorm.
God damn it, not again. I mean, yes.
kind of. Yeah, I guess like Dahaka is kind of like the Moldorm of this
Spoiler of the boss of this area. If that last scene of it floating around and us saying, "What's one more Lassie?" It wasn't enough of a hint. Or Falsey, whatever.
Falsey, Lassie. It's all the C to me.
Oh yeah, there's as I'm like running into the tower through this cool little tunnel thing that connects it. Vanille says something that I think speaks very true to Curtis's heart, which is, "My stomach's tied in a knot." She's got a stomach ache again.
Just stomach ache. No. So we get into the tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say right now, it's not built well. This is why it fell over, because
too many moving parts.
The make of this tower is, I'm going to do my best to explain what this tower is. So the tower is made up of floors that are all rings, and the middle of the tower is empty. All the like traversal space, all the floor space is around the circumference of each floor, right? With the exception of like the bottom floor where you can walk through the entire circle of area. So big hollow tower. And the idea is to create new paths in the tower. You rotate the various floors. So each floor is its own ring that moves independently, that rotates around to be able to connect elevators and stairs to other floors, right? So like, interesting idea. That's pretty cool.
It's now like a library with really tall shelves where you need to like move the ladder stair thing.
The problem that I see with this whole thing is that from the basement floor, from the first floor, you can see the mechanism that causes the floors to move, and it's literally just on casters. Like, everything is just, all of the tower's weight is going down onto these, like, 6 wheels.
Well, at least the inside of the tower is going on these 6 wheels.
Yeah, it's like, have you used the shopping cart before? Like, one of those wheels is just going to get shitty, and then everything's going to hang
it's
right.
It's doing
when
the
you
little weird wobble
straight.
as it goes. Yeah. What was it like? The amount of like pressure that's on every single one of those like the tiny wheels. They're not like gigantic wheels.
They're pretty big
to like move this gigantic tower around. They're pretty small. So I was like, there is an enormous amount of pressure on the singular point that these wheels meet the ground on. This would never move ever.
Not structurally sound at all.
Yeah, they're falsy too.
Yeah, I mean, fucking probably.
And how does the tower? I mean, I was going to say, how does the tower stay up? But I guess there's your answer. It didn't stay up because there is nothing in the center of the tower. If you look up, it's just blank space to the sky.
They call it unsinkable.
But I guess the thing that's holding it up is that there's 4 Catman statues.
Yeah, these are Ronso.
In the middle. There's 4 Ronso statues.
Ronso, right?
Yeah.
The kind of like minotaurs.
Yeah, so we come into this kind of big circular, like, I guess it's an atrium, all things considered. And they are in the middle. There's like this. I'm curious of what's in the middle of this room that the 4 Ronso statues are surrounding. They're these giant guardian. They're about 20 feet tall.
Two snow units tall, probably.
Yeah, they're about 20 feet tall, like giant statues with big swords.
SU snow units.
But there is like a weird kind of crystal in the center of it. That maybe this whole tower is a fal'Cie, and that is where the fal'Cie is living. I don't know. It's like a chamber of the faith type of thing.
Could a fal'Cie design a tower so shittily that even it couldn't knock itself over?
Yes. I mean,
but as we enter, like Fennel starts hearing something, and I guess everyone starts hearing something too, right?
Yeah, they hear voices in their head. They're not hearing out loud.
I love how they handle this because we the player don't actually hear it, but we do hear these kind of like ghostly murmurs kind of in the environment as there are these quote unquote like things talking to us. It's a really cool, eerie detail. I like it.
Yeah, and it's shown to be the statues, like these like we call it Ronso statues, right? That are like communicating with the party. So these things are alive to some extent. But Fang and Vanille seem to be able to kind of interpret for them as we go.
Or at least Fang can. I'm not sure. Like Vanille can
does
hear
later.
Okay.
Like when at the very top of the tower, when she's like, "Oh, he's thanking us" or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I just assumed like that's like when my cat is meowing at me, and I'm like, "Aw."
Oh well, that's
he's thanking me.
That could be, I guess. Yeah, that's fair.
You want ups?
He's really like, fucking feed me, you piece of shit.
Yeah. The giant like Catman statue is talking, and Fang's like, he wants out, but if you let him out, he's just gonna want right back in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, he wants you to turn on the faucet, but he's not actually going to drink from it. He's just going to look at it. He doesn't pay the water bill.
But yeah, so it's speaking to them, and Fang translates and says what it's saying. Your presence here draws the tyrant's gaze. Leave at once.
Yeah, leave this place at once.
I'm sure they're referring to that fal'Cie as the tyrant.
Dahaka.
It seems like a real pain in the ass. It's like, hey,
isn't there an enemy in here called a tyrant though? At some point.
Oh yeah, there is.
Oh yeah, the big blue guy.
Yeah.
I didn't fight him.
Neither did I.
I did fight him, and I lost pretty quick, and I said, yeah.
I think I fought him, and we'll get to it when we get to it. It's another one of those, what were they called? The
Berserker.
Yeah, the Berserker.
But blue.
Yeah, it's blue. It's really cool.
A blue Zerker.
The blue Zerker. Yeah, but it was actually easier than I expected it to be.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Fang's interpreting like leave this place at once because understand when we saw Dahaka, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Dahaka.
We don't want none of you people drawing that thing down here. Please get out.
Yeah, right. And Vanille says we can't leave. This is the only way for us to get through. Please help us. Mm-hmm. And it does another like ghastly murmur, and Fang is translating for it.
As you wish. Look for us, and the way will open.
Well, that was easy enough.
You never know. Could be a trap.
You just gotta ask. No problem.
You just gotta put yourself out there.
Yeah, and then it kind of like it moves a little bit, and it has like a giant like sword that you can like two-hand with like a separate handle, and it shoves that into the ground, and then like a blue beam of light happens, and that's when we start seeing these wheels spinning and putting the tower into a configuration that we can somewhat traverse.
Right. It gives us access to the second floor at least.
It has called us the elevator, and now we just have to slide him a crisp $20 bill as a thank you into his hand.
Yeah,
the entire tower is a giant Rubik's Cube, but inside out, basically.
This is one of the things I think is actually pretty neat about the design of it, is like the way the elevator specifically works, or the main elevator. There's a couple of them, but there's a main elevator that's in this like atrium area, right?
It's a giant barrel, kind of a wheel that you go inside.
It's like a giant barrel that rolls down a track.
It's like a giant rollerblades wheel.
Yeah, and so like the area inside of it that you stand on, I guess, is like gyroscopic because it remains
kind of like Atomos, but as a cylinder instead of a ball.
Yeah. And so you can stand inside of it, but the exterior of the elevator rolls up and down a vertical track to take you to different areas. And as it does it, it plays like notes on a piano roll because the back of the elevator, like the track of it, has like a piano roll notes on it.
Yeah, done vertically.
It's like a giant music box. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you're not familiar with like using MIDI and like a recording software and seeing piano roll, it's essentially the same as like a player piano or a music box if you're familiar with it. Where
it has a little peg
bumps,
sticking out, so as it goes up, it kind of strums these little notes, which implies that the notes that we hear these little like kind of atonal chimes.
Yeah.
I think that is coming from the elevator itself because the notes are actually on the wall, not the things that flick whatever is inside the mechanism.
I'm gonna use I'm gonna learn how to mod Final Fantasy 13, and for those notes, I'm gonna replace them with sounds from Mario Paint. So just like the barking noise.
This thing seems excessively designed. The elevator you can usually enter from both sides, and I love that I'm kind of baffled by that you summon them with a like Stargate.
Yeah.
There's like a big bubbly kind of viscous looking Stargate thing that you walk through to enter or I guess you use it to summon an elevator as well later.
Yeah.
Because when there isn't the elevator there, you can touch this kind of weird bubble surface to summon it.
So the goal of this tower in general, like the overarching goal, is to line up all of the various floors, and I think there's like 9 of them or something like that.
There are technically 7, and we only have to line up 6 of them to get to progress, though.
Okay. Okay. And once they
we
all
only have
line
to
up,
think about it because thankfully we don't. Like I think when Carl was playing, it was like, oh, this seems like it's gonna be a real fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, I got to a point where I was just like, fuck, man. Like in any other game, like in Final Fantasy X, this would be the worst cloister of trials.
Yeah.
In actual practice, it's pretty simple.
If you're following like the markers on the map and stuff, it'll kind of just lead you the right direction anyway.
Yes.
And even if you don't, it involves a little bit of backtracking, but it's literally just like, oh, okay, this one floor. Like, there's 2 elevators on this floor. One goes up to the 6th floor. I'm on the 4th floor. The other one on the other side only goes up to the 5th floor. Like, so you need to go up to the 5th floor, do the thing there.
You go up to the 6th and then down to the 5th. And
eventually it all kind of comes together. So if you did what I did and you did it out of order, like an idiot, which I'll get to when we get to, you just have to like ride that elevator up and down like 2 additional times. And then you're just like, oh, okay, that was fine.
And once you've rotated a floor so that it's in position for the main elevator track, it doesn't rotate out of position.
Right.
So like once you get a floor right, it's right. And you don't have to
It does seem like even though
it together.
Every time the floor rotates, it looks like every single floor is reconfiguring. I think realistically only the ones above us are reconfiguring so we can keep progressing.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
It's like, oh no, if I like completely like walled myself off from going back and you actually haven't, it's just
sure.
It seemed like it was going to be like the one puzzle in the forest temple in Ocarina of Time where you have to like push the wall to like line up the gap to walk through a like opening where like the actual rooms are, and you have to keep rotating the room to get to like certain things and then hit a switch and rotate it again. But it's not actually like that. It's kind of just like go and hit this button and then you unlock the rest of the way. And it looks really cool.
Yeah. And like very handily, whenever you do that, it like automatically calls the elevator to the floor that you're on. So you're like, oh, how nice.
Yeah, exactly. And if the elevator's not on the floor that you're on, when you walk through that weird Stargate thing, it makes a cool ass noise, and then the elevator comes to get you.
It's great.
Yeah, it's
good transit.
There are like 6 missions in here.
Yes,
6 mandatory missions.
Mandatory ones, indeed. So they actually cause you to get to the next area in this.
Yeah.
This is basically kind of the catch with these statues letting us pass through. Like, all right, find us and help us and we'll let you continue on.
You do a couple hours of manual labor and you got yourself a deal.
I like this system where like instead of just saying like, oh yes, you are worthy, like we will help you in your aid, you actually do have to like release these spirits, or I guess are they Seath? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're.
Yeah, they're not really Seath.
They're not Seath stones. It works the same way, but they're not. They don't seem to be. And I at one point, like these things get a name, and I was like, sick. Show me that data log. I want to read about these fucking things, because the entire time I was like, we're helping these things out. And they keep saying, like, you must free me or something. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to have to fight all 6 of these motherfuckers at some point. Like, I was getting really worried about that. Didn't end up being the case. But, yeah, I didn't see any data log entries or anything. So, interesting. But,
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, a lot of them will say, like, oh, this creature has stolen my power. If you give it back, I'll allow this floor to move or rotate it into the area that it needs to be.
I think sometimes like for the first few floors, I think there was like 3 statues that have missions, and then when you free all 3 of them, that's when the kind of way opens up for us.
Yeah, then the elevator can then go up 1 more floor.
And it's all like fight this one enemy, fight this Seath. There's a couple new Seath types. It's the exact same thing as the Seath Stone missions. Like
the first one was pretty gross. It was like that. I call it the Davy Jones slime. It was like the flan, but it was making look like it was made of an octopus.
Yeah.
The thing is pretty gross.
That's the only instance of that flan in here, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the only one I saw.
It's a very cool design.
Yeah.
We get a chest that has 4,721 gil in it, and you're like, all right.
Inflation. But yeah, how do we want to tackle this?
I guess let's just go in order of the missions, right?
I was going to say we can do each mission. We don't have to do each mission because they don't have
gloss over them.
Yeah, because they don't have individual dialogue. They're not like
it's all like the same thing, and it's a template, and it just says blank has stolen my power.
Yeah, and you fight a flan, you fight some new Seath. I think you fight a robot at one point.
Oh yeah, they were mostly pretty similar.
Ambling bellows, yeah.
Oh, every single one tells you something different, which is kind of cool. So like the first mission 21, which is called the Tremulous Terror.
Tumultuous? Let me see.
Tremulous. Okay, it's this it means like shaking. Okay. But
I did write down a new word that I learned in this section, by the way, so not unheard of. I definitely learned some new English.
It was pussy.
Pussy.
But you're correct that every single mission has the same text except for the first word, so this one says, "Brave soul, heed my plea, and we shall bring the light to your dark path. Know that a gelatin holds my power thrall with the spire. Slay it, and I shall once more be free." And then the second one is, it does say puss and soul.
Puissant or whatever, yeah.
Puss and soul.
Puss and soul.
And then the third one says sage soul. And then so on and so forth. There's tormented soul, enlightened soul, defiant soul. And yeah, that's it for what we need.
So I had to look up that word, puissant, and it means having great power or influence, which I guess makes sense. It kind of
Spider-Man.
It's like Spider-Man. He has great power and influence and responsibility.
Puissant.
It's good.
Puissant.
Oh, did you see what the name of the ambling bellows that you have to fight is?
No.
Christopher.
It's Crypto. I was like, oh
yeah,
no!
Yeah. I was like, we gotta fucking take these guys down, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few interesting enemies in this one.
There's a lot of new Seath types that I think are very interesting.
We haven't seen Seath in a while, too.
Yeah, there's a Seath type called a vampire.
The vampire. I like this enemy because the first time I fought him, I was like, ooh, he's a big old boy. He's kind of tough to beat. And this is the first time we see him, but we're going to see so fucking many more of this guy coming up that, like, it's fun to get down a fast way to do it. And so I was like, oh, okay. It's kind of fun.
I got a preempt strike on it and immediately killed it. And I was like, oh, that was easy. Because I saw it walking around and I was like, nope. Not gonna fight this guy. It looks like Jezeric. Like, I do not want to fuck. He
kind of looks like a smaller.
I don't want
to
fuck with this guy. Like, and then I took him out pretty easily, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not that bad. But there's him. There's a couple. There's like little flying ones that look like the gremlin enemies, but they're flying. They're kind of like cute.
Yeah,
they're basically miniature flying Seath. They like
those things fucking suck.
Little baby ones.
It's kind of unsettling because we're used to seeing these very graceful or slow Seath, and these like basically Zubats of Seath.
They're like Zubats.
There's like these fucking assholes. They're just flapping at you, and they move pretty fast. And they can swarm you.
I think we kind of glossed over how this works, which is an interesting thing as well. It does a thing that I don't love, when it happens in video games, because it's like, well, what if the antagonist simply just didn't do this? Then how would we make our way through? When we get up to the like second floor or whatever, before we find these missions, there's like nowhere to go. And then we see
or we're about to progress, and then
Tanaka. Tanaka
it blocks our path with fire or something. Yeah,
it like attacks and blocks our path with fire, but also bursts open a wall that wasn't there, like an opening in the wall that wasn't there before. And then we can go on and luckily we can talk to these statues who are like, oh yeah, do this for me and I'll help you get through.
Yeah, as we continue through the thing, along with the puzzles, there are also momentary attacks from Dahaka that stifle progress, and then doing those missions unlocks those various ways to get through.
Exactly, yeah, because they're the ones who are actually changing the tower structurally, which makes sense.
And twice on our way up, the statues actually fight Dahaka too. They like go at him and fuck his ass up.
Yeah, they like cut off parts of his tail like in 3 different times. I think the first time we see it is after we complete the first 3 missions, if I'm not mistaken.
So once we free the first 3, we enter the center chamber to head towards the elevator, because now we can go up a floor. And we get kind of surprised by Dahaka again, and like Fang's like, great, here we go again. And Snow's like, can't take a hint, like you're one to talk. And then these 3 statues just kind of beam in. They just kind of
they Goku instant transmission,
pretty much. And they just like they surround Dahaka and like slash a chunk of its beads off, one of its balls.
They instant transmit Dahaka to King Kai's planet and then blow it up. These things are called the Menhirim.
Oh.
I did write that down.
And we have the primer for it. It doesn't tell us anything cool lore-wise about like who they are, what their whole deal is. It just says like, oh yeah, complete the missions, and if you don't, you can't get further.
Yeah.
Where is that in the data log?
It's I don't think it's in the data log. It's in a primer.
Oh, interesting.
Which might be like it might update the gameplay, like one of the gameplay ones.
Oh,
or
primer,
something.
yeah, exploration probably.
Oh, did we talk about the flan's name, which is really good? It's a cute little pun.
Oh no, what is it called?
The Gelatitan.
Yeah, Gelatitan. Yeah. There's a enemy type that we see here for the first time that is the subject of one of the missions that I think is very cool, called a Vitala. And this is a new kind of Seath. It's like it's a floating abdomen that's like, it's weird. It's like a shredded stone abdomen with like wings.
It's got 2 brands for nipples.
That's the one that has like
nips.
That's like the Zubat fight, right? Where there's just a bunch of bats attacking you.
No, this is like a big hulking Seath stone that kind of.
Yeah, this is a great big guy.
Yeah.
Those things, I think those are, one of them is a target, I think, in mission 25.
Is that the Garangach?
The Vitala.
Oh, the Vitala. Jeez.
Yeah.
I was way off. Oh,
the
yeah.
The Garangach, which I think is our 3rd mission, which we would do fight on the 2nd or 3rd floor. That is one of the scale beasts.
Yeah, just a
scale
beast. I think
it's kind of more cybernetic looking.
It would be hard if I didn't have Imperil going, because it got Imperil, and I think maybe something else it wasn't weak to, but I had it Imperiled, and I was just like, okay, you're dead now. I just staggered it like 3 times.
Having either the Belladonna or Marlboro wand for Vanille is super helpful.
I do.
Nice. It's very, very helpful during this part, because that scale beast in particular is very hard to stick with debuffs if you don't have like some advantageous numbers going for you, because like I couldn't stick it with anybody else until I put Vanilla, and I was like, all right, Vanille can do this.
That's good to know, because like I said, when I was struggling with that one mission for a while, I was like, fuck it, we're going all in with some upgrades. Belladonna wand's the one I already started leveling up. Luckily, that has the passive ability that made this section a lot easier for me.
It's also,
some of these fights would probably be very difficult without these.
It's also the cheapest weapon in the game to get to ultimate status.
I guess that's why, much like the ATB that Vanille has, the extra ATB, which I don't think we mentioned this, but on top of having a cool fucking ultimate weapon, I'm pretty sure if you have an ultimate weapon equipped, you get an extra ATB charge.
You get an extra ATB for having one of the ultimate weapons.
That's all I need, dude. That's literally the only incentive I need.
So anyway, the one if you don't mind, the one I wanted to talk about real quick though is the Vitala, because it has a couple interesting properties. The big thing it can do that I think is super fucking annoying is it can craft a like golden armor around itself that just takes no damage from anything. It's called an inertial barrier. And oh boy. And I think it's the first, it might not be the first, it's the first enemy in a while that I've seen that its stagger amount, like the amount you have to take it up, stagger it, is question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, okay, what's the deal with this guy?
And then I think it ends up just being like 250 something.
It's not terrible, but until once it throws up inertial barrier, you have to stagger it before you can do any damage. But once it's staggered, it can cast inertial barrier in stagger. Like it can just do it again, and then you'll just be like, well, I'm wasting stagger time now. So it's kind of rough. But you can debuff it with several things. So I find that that's like super necessary if you want to go for the 5 stars on it. It also has multicast, so it can just cast multiple spells at once. So it'll just like do a area of attack Fira and then just follow it up with like a blizzard on somebody. Yeah. And so it does a lot of damage too. So it's kind of an interesting it's not quite like boss difficult or anything like that, but it's enough to be like, ooh, this is kind of a tough little enemy here.
Oh, Curtis, I will say this. If you use Libra on it, it looks like the question marks disappear right away.
Oh, okay.
So I did that and it was just like, oh yeah, it takes 200%. Which with the numbers that I was doing at this point, it was pretty easy to get the stagger up.
Yeah, okay.
I definitely had Fang in Saboteur, and after Libra, she was kind of just fucking chilling there because she was like, well, I can't do anything, so I'm like, Fang, you got time to lean, you got time to clean. Come on, dude, do something. Come on.
This is the first area too where I did 5 nines of damage, so I finally made it there.
Nice.
So we'll do that now.
Actually, speaking of the area, I noticed that every floor has a different color scheme, which is kind of nice.
Does it?
Oh, I did not notice that.
Because sometimes we have to like go up and down stairs to go to different floors to kind of maneuver around. But I noticed that like some floors have purple lighting and some have kind of green lighting.
Oh, wow.
To kind of let you know that, or pink, like just to let you know that you're on a different floor, which I think is a kind of nice little subconscious visual design.
I had no idea.
Actually, speaking of colors, also, even as another side tangent. Did you all know that the transition when you go into a battle, like that little blooming effect?
Yeah.
It goes, did you know that the color changes if you get a preemptive strike?
I did not.
No, I didn't.
Normally it's gold, but if you are like, oh, did I get a preempt? If it's blue, you did.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool.
Interesting.
I know
that the starting camera angle is different.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many small things like that, which are just so cool that you would never notice. Like I didn't notice when you hear that little sound that means like there's enemies near you.
This little crash noise.
Yeah, and like the map kind of flares out and lets you know that enemies are aware of you or enemies are near you. Your running animation changes slightly depending on who you are.
Does.
I mean, everyone does. Yeah. So like they kind of crouch down and just get like more of a stealthy pose, which I didn't realize that until I started like trying to learn the speed run of chapter 1. And I just kept seeing like lightning like dip down and stuff because I wasn't paying attention. Like I was like looking at lightning for replacement and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch there.
I also think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, it seems to be this way, but like if you hit a enemy from like lightning's front, she pulls out her sword and has her little stance and you go into it. But I think if an enemy hits lightning from the back, she actually looks around like behind her like, oh shit, did I get hit from the wrong side?
Oh, I think
we don't get
depend on the enemy. I know that when I was Snow, we had the one of the guy who was right behind me as it like shifted into the battle and he was just holding a gun to the back of Snow's head like right before the battle, and I was like, well, you just that means you win the fight. Like when you're in that position, like you just won.
But yeah, it seems like lightning does a quick look around if you don't hit an enemy from the front.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think there might be a missable cutscene. I wasn't really able to test if you can just bypass this, but it's not really one of too much worth, but you go up to one of these statues that's not in one of these like back rooms.
This is after we pass the tyrant, we come out into the center, like
exactly. Yeah, there's another statue there where at this point
it's like, oh hey, I need to turn on the statue. Yeah.
Oh, the ice one.
Yeah, you might already have a mission or something, but you'd be like, oh well, let's see what this one's gonna be, and you go up to it, and then Dahaka kind of shows up and attacks to prevent you from getting close to that statue.
He leaves like an ice wall, which again, this cutscene like depends on like who is your leader, which is kind of cool. I like that. Like for lightning, it was like, back again. I'm getting tired of this. And then when he like blocks off the statue, like let's double back.
I'm getting mighty sick of this.
And like Saz is like, here we go again. That thing needs a hobby. And but Vanille's like seems to be enjoying himself.
Yeah. It's very interesting to kind of see the walls of the tower, because it's kind of like, it looks almost like circuitry or like almost like a server rack, except not like a nondescript, like just blinking like pink lights and like cables and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah,
like when
it's
you're close
interesting.
to it, everything looks like it's made of stone, but from like far away, it does look like server racks and just random technology.
Yeah, like it
Yeah,
almost looks like a library, like just a bunch of like stacked up bookshelves and stuff. But
I'm
instead
sure
of
it's supposed
books,
to be like
it's just a
Tower of
bunch
Babel or something like that.
Yeah, just like cybernetic stuff. It's pretty cool.
Tower of Babel shows up in Final Fantasies, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
there's always tower levels.
We
Yeah.
we had the Tower of Babel in 4, right?
This does not have as many floors.
Yeah, but this set of missions, these 3 here, are the ones where if you're just following the critical path, at one point you get onto like an elevator where you can go 2 ways. You can go left or right, and I think the way, like if you go left, there's a save point. That's the way that you want to go, because that just leads you to the next mission, and that's like the most optimal path. I, on the other hand, was like, well, I got an option here. I went and saved right away, and then I was like, wait, what's that? And I saw on the other side there was a treasure, and I was like, oh, let me go and get that treasure. And then I just continued from that path, and that's where it has the breakdown of like you can go from floor 4 to 6 on this side, and the other side is 4 to 5.
Well, in
So-
an RPG, the right way to go is always the wrong way to go because you get more stuff.
Yeah, well, I would have had to double back and go that way anyway, so I was like,
Yeah.
so I just made like 2 more trips up and down the stairs for me, basically.
Okay.
It's like, damn it, I left my water downstairs that I went to go and fill up. Now I gotta go and get it.
The only other thing I really have to say about this area is that there is a good leveling place if you want some extra CP here. This is like the best non-end game area to level up because you can retake the missions. And so I think it's mission 24 is one where you fight a Mushusu and some Yakshini. And that one, when you turn it in, you get a lot of CP for the actual mission, and then for turning it in, you also get items that sell for a lot. So you get like a lot of CP, you get a lot of gil here. It's a good place to
Interesting.
farm if you want to. The thing about this game is you don't really need to do that. So unless you're going for like all achievements, in which case there are better farming type places later. So
is the reward always the same? Because I remember one of these mission rewards was like 3 of like something that I was like, that's like 3 particle accelerators or something. And I was like, holy shit.
there is one that's that. This one, the thing is, the mission rewards are always the same in that the first one is always different than the rest of them.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you get like a
Yeah.
less. I was going to say that would have been like game changing if you redid the mission and got the particle accelerators.
The first time it
again.
always gives you something fucking sweet, and then after that you get something that's like pretty okay. But it just so happens that that mission, the thing you get that's pretty okay, sells for a decent amount.
Nice.
For example, yeah, the mission 22, the ones that Ambling Bellows and its little pink power lifters, the Cryptos.
Fucking
Those
Cryptos.
fuckers.
Yeah, when you first do the mission, like for the story, you get 3 particle accelerators, but when you redo it, you get 3 electrodes instead.
Okay.
Yeah, so a few of them have they have repeat things. I think like Moon Blossom Seed.
That's the thing. So the first time you get 6 Moon
Those make the
Blossom
rockin'
Seed,
world go round.
and I think they sell for like 5,000 gil or something. It's
Ooh.
pretty good.
Nice. Not bad.
You only get 1 for when you repeat it.
You
though.
only get 1 for each repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're trying to like farm up some CP to get like a new roll level or something, that adds up pretty quick.
A lot of these
Right,
give
right,
off
right.
bomb cores, I guess, is a very common like repeat reward, which I'm
Yeah.
not sure how those are, but there seem to be a lot of them.
But yeah, that's one you
I
can
like
do.
how the floors are also called tiers,
Yeah.
which isn't
Yes.
really
It's like Guilty Gear.
necessary thing,
We're
but a
fighting
cool
our
little-
way up to the
yeah,
best tier.
exactly. Not like a Seath tier.
Yeah.
So, should we go on to the next cutscene with these guards?
I was gonna say when we get to the 4th floor, we see Dahaka fly by again, and he
Right.
kind of clips through, or at least he did for me from like where I was standing. He sort of clipped through like the guardrail that's there and like the
Yeah.
floor. So I just see his big fucking head like right next to Lightning, and I was like, oh, I was like terrified. I thought it was about to go down. Like I thought we were gonna fight him right here.
So something very similar happened for me. where he flew down, and while he was maybe like 6 or 7 feet above Lightning's head, he just in one frame disappeared. He's just like most of the screen, and then he's just gone. And I was like, yeah, the end of this game seems less optimized than the beginning. It seems like
the tower's broken.
I like the
Square Enix fixed your tower.
I like the mechanism when we get inside the elevator. There's like a small little micro cutscene where you just see Lightning or whoever your party leader is flip the switch, and there's like a little like kind of steampunky like a counter. I
actually was paying attention to this, and I'm curious how accurate it is, because like first for a while I thought it's like no matter what direction you go, is it just counting up? Is it just counting how far we've traveled? And then when you get to the bottom, it does just say 1, like 0.
Yeah, it's like 001, and they kind of look like 9s. Yeah. And the 1 looks like the Bloodborne hunter's mark a little bit.
It's cool. There's like little flippers inside, and also every character uses the lever a little differently.
Interesting.
Fang just kicks it.
Amazing. Holy shit, that rules.
Fang's so good.
But yeah, that was a cool little detail that I saw way too many times because I had to take more elevators than I needed to, but that's completely fine.
It's a cool elevator. It kind of reminded me a little bit of something from BioShock because of like the little flipper, and it's like you're in a diving bell or something.
Yeah, absolutely. We get some more of those bird enemies around as well, which are, the stinkinis or whatever. Like, not really worth talking about too much, other than the fact that on their back they have like almost like a giant shuriken, kind of like
awesome.
Yuffie, but it just looks like a fucking fidget spinner. Like, exactly. And I'm like, you know what? Yuffie would use fidget spinners, I think.
Yeah, they can hold like 3 materia on the on the outside.
Yeah, you spin them around all cool. You pick up a water bottle and throw it and try to make it land on the bottom. And dab.
But yeah, other than that though, like we talked about the Dahaka scenes, we talked about the fact that the statues come and fuck Dahaka up a couple times and it flies away.
Yeah, we get this final like I think cutscene with them helping us on our way up. In which like Dahaka comes up and then like Saz is like, pick on someone your own size.
Yeah.
It gets blown back. And then the statues beam in and just completely fuck these guys up again. I think leaving only 1 ball of like 3 left. And goes flying up in hopes like they save us again. And then Vanille's kind of almost like conversing with them, like, you want to help us. And then they beam out and Snow's like,
we also get the party rank of Monumental Ally.
Right.
Yes, which I think is very funny.
I did mission 24 out of order. That was the last one I did because of my stupidity. And I was like, I wonder if it only gives you that rank when you complete the missions, but apparently anytime you do mission 24, that's when it gives it to you.
Oh, okay. I think
I feel like the ranks don't really mean much. They're just
absolutely. It was cool to like confirm that
when you rescue the Chocobo, it was like feathered friend.
Feathered friend. Yeah.
But yeah, Snow says the way is clear. So like the final, I think, is the elevator that goes now to the apex. Actually, the center elevator doesn't go to the apex yet. We can go up 1 floor.
Yeah, we can go up to like 1 more floor.
I think we go up to level 6, and then from 6 we go up to the apex.
Because that's correct.
Because later, if we want, we can actually go
adjust the rest of the tower.
We can go down to the secret levels, I guess tier 7, to align the middle central elevator. Right. So now from the apex to the ground floor.
But I love the look of the apex. I think it's great. I think it's very cool.
When we show up, I immediately thought it was like it gave me big like Metroid Prime like battle.
Yeah, for sure.
I can see that. Yeah,
it's got technology and ruins everywhere. It's like, this looks
There's
like
a lot of hanging cables and stuff.
This is where the tower is broken.
Yes. This is the point at which it's fractured and fallen over. So we actually see to one side, we see the entrance to this big second part of the tower, the part that actually aims downward. Yeah, the neck hole of the tower. And what's actually funny is the apex is actually made up of 2 floors, but they're both like the same area. They're both outside.
Yeah, maybe it was a breakaway tower.
Yeah, it was meant to do this. This is on purpose. But at one point, so we have to cross this like center platform. There's like dais in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. And as we do, we are thrown into a cutscene, which is always a good sign.
Love it.
You love to see it.
Like, yeah, because the middle of this floor is kind of just hovering above like the empty center of the tower.
We walk onto a floor that has Boss Arena written all over the floor of it.
Pretty much. It's a big circular area.
It's a big circular area with lots of room to maneuver around for, say, a large creature that we might want to fight here.
Yeah, sumo wrestling is very big in Foul Seas.
Yeah.
But it lifts us up to a secondary floor of the Apex.
Yeah, it's interesting to see.
Apex.
It's interesting to think about how, like, obviously we're on the outside, so this is where we're on the Cloven Tower, which this is where it has been cleaved. But it's interesting to think about, like, what did this look like when it was a part of the tower?
Is a tower that hasn't been.
Yeah, Cleven. Yeah, this is the Cloven. Yeah,
yeah,
lots of clovers up here, but yeah, I was just like thinking, like, what did this look like when it wasn't dipped over? Like, is this them rebuilding it slightly and then being like, fuck it, like they get the access elevator?
Like, I was actually wondering because Fang and Vanilla were like, oh yeah, through there and we'll be home. Like, wait, so was it tipped over?
I guess it was already tipped over.
This is just how it was built. Like maybe it wasn't finished. Like this is just a development project that they just.
It's like fucking I-95. They're just doing construction on it for fucking eons.
This is the fucking Hyperloop, dude. It's supposed to like go up.
Fastest way to get to Urba. Could we just take Bahamut? No, you have to all pile into this fucking clown car and go at 170 miles an hour.
If there is a fire inside, you will die.
Yeah, it's okay. You can totally trust our cars that will not stop for children if it's in autopilot mode.
I mean, Thomas didn't. I mean, I joke last episode, but still.
Yeah.
It's evergreen. Yeah, so Dahaka shows up. He only has his one anal bead left for a tail. And he's squaring up with us, and we're actually going to fight him. And he has more to him than initially meets the eye.
Yeah, he's
acting strange, one might say.
Yeah, one being lightning, who might say that.
Yeah, exactly.
And Fang says he must be weak from losing his tail. And Snow's like, oh yeah, he looks plenty feisty to me.
Owned.
Yeah.
I love this reveal because up to this point we've seen like the quote-unquote face of this thing, which is like a big toothy,
it looks like a face.
A big toothy mask.
It acts like a face. It kind of like the mouth thing. It's like a fucking Jim Henson puppet.
But really, it was just kind of...
He's like a fucking Power Rangers toy from the 90s where you like hit the belt buckle and
I had one of those.
Their helmet flips out and their real head comes up. Like that's what this dude is. Yeah. That and when that happens, like this thing looks like it's more like a dragon at this point, and that's when
it
Snow's
looks
like,
fucking sick.
That's when Snow's like, yo, it's looking pretty feisty to me. But yeah, he pulls
like,
that head out
the
of the
mask
ball.
like unfurls into like weird like golden wings.
Yeah, because the weird shield / dome that's on his back kind of like splits open and kind of shows off that it has like more like layers and wings to it.
Yeah,
cool. And its actual body is like it has almost like a humanish upper body with a dragon's neck and head, right?
Imagine, if you will, you've just unlocked the dragon items in Dark Souls by going to Ash Lake, and now you have a dumb dragon head that can shoot fire, and you can get a dragon torso. It's similar to that.
I've never done that. Does that actually happen?
Oh yeah, you get an item that just you can't be wearing a helmet to use it, and you just get a dragon head, and then you can get like a better version if you get more of the Covenant item, where you get a dragon's torso, and you just have an attack where you just breathe dragon fire on things, and it's sick. It's really helped me in randomizers before. I love Hope's confidence here, because when he sees all this happening and everyone's like, oh shit, like he's getting ready to fuck us up, Hope just says, he's bluffing to scare us off. Let's just go with that, all right? Like,
let's just go with that. Yeah.
So good.
Maybe because I had Metroid on the brain, like his torso just made me like, oh, it's like Ripley, but he's from like the Zelda world though instead, because
he's wearing that cool crown.
I love that the bosses in this game are like, when they show their full form, it does feel like they're more like a shrine, like this big holy like idol. It's really
this
cool.
one very much looks like a god, like when you're fighting it.
Yeah,
it's super cool.
It's also like incredibly symmetrical, like the way it has its hands out, like beckoning you to be like, yeah, what is it? Come on, let's do this thing.
Yo, this thing's fingers are hella long.
Yeah,
claws.
Is this the biggest boss we fought so far? Because he's a girthy boy. He's big.
I feel like Bartandalus was probably larger, or maybe like Alexander.
Probably not as tall.
Bart was very deep.
Yeah, Bart was very deep.
Alexander was very stout.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Put it this way, like when the battle begins, the camera starts on Dahaka, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think up until this point we have a good sense of scale, because we haven't really seen the party and Dahaka in the same shot.
Unless you got that screenshot that I have where Lightning is just standing as Dahaka is clipping into it and just right in front of her and is extremely big with his false face.
But yeah, like when the camera like finally pulls back to show our party, like Lightning is like the third the size of the ball on his tail.
Yeah, we're about like the top of its face is about as long as us, I think. Like it's real face, not the fake face.
Yeah. It's
I also
big.
like we can get real close there. Like if you're using Commando, like I have Fang in Commando, so she's attacking his head, and it's like she is like
when you stagger him, he collapses, so you can get
she is like very small next to his head, like. From like snout to the crystal in the top of his like forehead is like that's one Fang unit.
No, wow. An FU.
Fang
an
unit.
FU is about like a 3/4 of an SU, as we've determined. That's no unit.
Let's see if there's anything interesting in the Ultimate on this page, because there's a lot of cool design elements on this. This is neat.
Well, I will say first of all that Dahaka's not easy. I beat
Could have fooled
Dahaka.
me.
Well, no, I said not easy.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. He was very easy for me.
Wait, you had to do him like 4 times. Get out of here.
Yeah, so what? The first time I was just like, okay, I learned all I need to learn. The second time I got hit by some bullshit, and then I was like, all right.
I would call that not very easy, but
dude, I have struggled. I struggled on this episode on a mission for like 2 hours. Like this
I didn't
fight,
say. I only got the end.
This
of it.
fight, I was like, I'll take care of this next time. We probably won't get this far on the podcast anyway. And then I was like, you know what? Let me give him one quick try. And then I was just like 3 tries in. I'm like, boom, that's how you do it.
Oh, okay. So I give up a lot easier on that. Like once I've like died, if I've died to something twice, I'm like literally impossible. Yeah,
take the disc
done.
out and shatter it. Like,
yeah, I have a very low tolerance for that.
I could have gotten this guy in 2 turns with my strategy that I ended up using, and then I got a different pattern, and it was like, oh, I didn't even know I needed to account for that, because I was just like, okay, my strategy will work. I will not need to heal anyone to use this strategy, and then he just hit me with a different move that did like enough damage to kill Lightning. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my god, let's talk about that. Okay,
so his elemental, like he kind of goes into different like elemental modes, right? It seems like some of his attacks are like, oh, I'm going to do a really heavy like flame attack, or I'm going to do a really heavy like lightning attack.
Yeah, fire and lightning, or
Even though maybe he did.
Oh, actually, he does ice and water too. Yeah,
because we noticed on our way up that he has a lot of different types of attacks, just kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah,
hit us with a fire attack and then made an ice wall and whatever.
His fire lightning one is Fulminous Firestorm. Yeah, and then he has Bone Chilling Breaker.
Bonesaw is ready.
I think he's pretty tough. I was able to get him on my first shot this time, but as I was telling Carl before the podcast, there was a moment where I was hit and lightning went down to single digit HPs. And whenever I go to single digit HP, even if I win, I'm like, well, I didn't deserve that one. I had a moral loss, essentially. Like, I lost that one, really.
To which I say to Curtis, this game loves throwing the biggest fucking bullshit at you in some of these boss fights. So, like, if you can survive with a couple HP and get, like, a freebie, like, that does not make it that you, like, didn't truly win the fight. Like, you fucking earned that fight either way.
I had to, like, turn the game off, like, after I win and be like, no, it wasn't right.
Yeah, I must go again.
Baby Jesus somewhere.
Nah, this game, at least the way I've been playing it, has become like, well, I hope the good RNG doesn't happen, because if it's 5 of the bad RNGs, I just lose.
I basically treat this fight like a Zelda fight, because once he staggers, he falls to the ground, which means like, oh yeah, that means I'm supposed to go and slash him with my sword. So I just switched over to Commando and just wailed on him.
Oh, yeah. So that's the thing. When you stagger Dahaka, he gives you a full 30 seconds of just, he doesn't attack, he's on the ground, like he is not moving around, and you can fuck him right up. And what's also interesting is,
it took me like 2 cycles of that, maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's also good about that is I actually like that his downed animation is not the full length of time of his stagger, because he gets up and resumes attacking like halfway through stagger.
While he's still staggered, yeah.
But I like that, because that means your commandos have time to get in and do smite, which at this point might just be like 5 straight 9s for you, just like a free full 9 damage.
Yeah, smite's real good.
Yeah, so I appreciated that you get all that time as free time, and then you also get a smite at the end. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah, so I'm looking at my attempts. In the first one, we haven't gotten to the thing that killed me just yet. The second one, it was like literally I was just like, oh, okay, like everything will be fine. And he used Foul Utterance and did 1,800 damage, and Lightning had 1,100, and it was just like game over. And I was like, okay, that one doesn't count. I'm going again.
Dude, it's damaging. That's what took me down to 1 HP.
Yeah.
And I think I had like bar fire up too. Like,
damn, yeah.
You know what I mean? It did a ton of damage. I was like, fuck.
The first big attack it did on me that made me just completely panic, like, oh no, I'm not ready for this, was the Diluvial Plague.
Yes, yeah.
Which inflicts Debrave, Defaith, Deprotect, Poison, Slow, Curse, and D-Shell on all targets.
Yep. It's literally all
like
of
everyone
the
just
things
slowly
that can
dying.
happen
Like,
to you. Yeah. All the things that can happen, all the status things that can happen to you are just there.
Except for Doom or whatever.
Yeah, except for Doom, or like, you know, like instead of stop, it's slow or whatever.
It was the first time in this game, like, okay, now this feels like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. The real Final Fantasy starts here, yeah.
Where a boss will just like give you every illness possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the fucking Valley of Defilement boss. So, that happened to me on my first attempt, and I like panicked a little bit. I was like, oh shit, yeah, let me shift into my medic thing, try and get Asuna to take care of this. And then it immediately after that used Arawa and just hit everyone in my party and just enough to kill Lightning. And I was just like, oh. And I was like, no, wait a second. How can I get past this? Because I'm not going to upgrade equipment to like protect me from most of these buffs. Asuna does not seem like that is the answer here. I was like, what can I do to get myself out of this situation? What's the best possible option? And I was like, I don't know if this will work, but it would be really fucking cheap if I got that, and then before he can attack me again after doing that, I just summon Odin, wail on him a lot more, and then when I come back, I have a fresh slate, which is exactly what I did, and I fucking destroyed
a good idea.
I was just like, dude, I'm not fucking with all of these status ailments. That's bullshit. I'm playing my bullshit card.
No, that's a great strategy. That's really good.
So that's why, like, to me, I was like, if I wasn't doing that, I would probably still be fighting him now. There would not be an episode of the podcast this week. I would be on I-95 fighting Ruby Weapon. Like, but yeah, I was that worked out really,
really
nice.
You fought Ruby Weapon while you were driving.
Well, I wasn't driving, unfortunately. That was the problem.
There was a thing that I saw when you were fighting him today. I was watching your Twitch stream. That I remember on your second fight, you were like, I could have swore I hit him with slow. Maybe I didn't. He is susceptible to slow.
It says it in the thing. I'm looking at it now.
1% chance to be hit with slow.
Which I got on him, and this also made me realize why I've been struggling with some of the battle mechanics the way that I have. The interface when you use Libra is fucking bad. So the way that it tells you if something is immune to the status is
you see the symbol. Yeah.
You see the symbol of what that status is underneath it. So when I saw that, and I'm like, oh, I see the slow thing. That probably means I can cast slow on him. And it's like, no, it's not what it's not. It's not what it's vulnerable to.
Yeah.
It's what and if it's not susceptible to that, it's just a dash. So you need to know on Libra where each corresponding and I'm like, that fucking sucks.
That's a terrible way to show it.
I'm glad I'm 45 hours into the game and now I understand how to read it to tell me, you know, what I'm doing is wrong after bashing my head as a Ravager against things that were resistant to magic.
I completely agree with you. That's not a great way to do that.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, whatever. Like, you can also just look up on Wikipedia what it's susceptible to and all of that if you want to. So Wikipedia, whatever. Fucking this podcast is brought to you by Wikipedia.
Let's see here. What else? He like we were saying, I don't know that he has like that many more things to him, but
he has a lot of moves, that's for sure.
Yeah, without my cheese strat, it would have been very, very tough to deal with.
But yeah, he has all the different magics: fire through Faraga, all the blizzards, all the thunders, all the arrows, doom, haste, and faith. So
doom
like,
always comes up if you're like just taking to over 20 minutes. Like it's just like it's funny that is like a thing where like the game just says like, no, you're taking too long.
It might be like to prevent cheesing of having like a sentinel, a medic, and a commando, and then just like setting the controller down.
Yeah, the fucking anima strat.
yeah. To make sure you can't do that for later ones. Boy, I'm looking at the wiki right now, and apparently his etymology comes from the Azidahaka, which is an Iranian folklore
cool
creature. But that's also the name of one of the very hard optional enemies in Final Fantasy X too.
Interesting.
Which we're definitely doing next season.
Yeah.
Did you add in when I said we're doing FF9 next season? I'm just gonna start saying we're definitely doing a game next season every episode. Be like, get ready, FF10 too. Absolutely the next one.
Again, the good one.
We do 7 and then we do 13, which is just 7
right.
again.
His Japanese name shares a name with Taharka from FF9.
Oh,
yeah. Taharka, famously a not terribly difficult boss in casual play, but a possible game ender in the speedrun.
You love to see it.
Which we're definitely doing next season.
Doing the speed run next season.
Just the speed run. Yeah, we don't talk about anything outside of the game, like out of the speed run of the game.
This was a fun fight.
I thought it was really cool. It made me feel good.
This was a much needed W for me because I spent so long on that fucking mission that I was just like, oh. But like, another reason that this fight was probably easy for me was the passive ability of the Belladonna wand becoming Marlboro wand. Is that I can hit this motherfucker with Imperil a lot easier.
I was gonna bring up lightning has Imperil, which is super handy.
Oh,
really?
Really?
The thing I've noticed. So like, you can set. I think you can have. Let's see. Hold on. I have it up. Fang, Lightning, and Vanille all learn it, and so does Saz. But I know that we've for certain battles we've been using that party. So like, you very much can just have a Imperil squad like like in your party. So you just have like a paradigm that's just sab, and you just roll into a battle, and you just have all 3 of them throwing Imperil and Imperilga for like a turn or two, and then you just switch them to normal, and you just make short work of whatever battle you were going into.
Dude, Imperil might be my favorite status effect in any Final Fantasy.
Bring it back in 16, you cowards.
It's so good, dude. Like,
you know what my favorite I think on this one is? I think I forget. There's 2 of them. I forget what they are, but I think it's Curse
and Vigilance. I think
Vigilance is the opposite of Curse, right?
Yeah. I think.
I love that because it's just. Oh, the enemy not staggers, but like it just interrupts their move.
It gets the thing that happens to you when you're fighting Sahagin, and they just like you're trying to cure and raise, and they're just like, nope.
Well, nope. I literally couldn't beat Sid until I cursed him, and then it was easy because I was like, oh, he just can't do anything if you just keep smacking him. Like no matter how much damage you're doing, as long as you can just interrupt his move, he can't do it. And you're like, that's such a good move. It's so crazy because it has nothing to do with the numbers. And Final Fantasy is always about the numbers. You know what I mean? Like the animations have never really mattered until now. Yeah. And now when you can just interrupt an animation, just be like, no, don't do that.
It's so good. Like,
awesome.
And that's like anytime there's an enemy that is using like I'm spawning in another enemy thing, I'm like, I fucking wish this guy was cursed, and I wish I could just attack him.
Yeah,
like, no, fuck, you're not. Sit down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Curse and Imperil are like the literal dream team. I've been calling pretty much any time we've had a paradigm shift this season the dream team, regardless of what team it was. I've just been doing that and waiting for people to catch on, and I don't think anyone actually did. But that literally is the dream team. Is just if someone is cursed and imperiled, like that's an easy win.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Good fight.
Good fight.
Yeah.
Good fight. Good night.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's probably where we're gonna just about leave it, right?
We get 2-star ratings, which is a totally fine thing to get. We get the Tetratic Tiara.
Ooh, there was something. Okay, I don't want to.
I got 2 as well.
I'm debating whether to say this or not, but I think I'm going to go ahead and say it, and y'all can just cut it out if you want to. It's fine. The Tetratic Crown and Tetratic Tiara are cool items because they give you resistance from multiple elements, right? But that is not the coolest thing about them. There is something much more cool, which I found out through reading guides. This isn't a thing that I found out myself. Also, Alex picked up Doom. It's Doom!
The kind of Doom that we like to see.
Hello, Doom.
Not the ones the Eidolons cast.
This is what happens when the podcast takes too long.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
They inflict doom on me.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby.
What a little friend. Anyway, the best thing about these crowns is if you master them, and then go to upgrade. And in upgrade, there's a thing that we haven't really had to do yet called dismantle, where you can turn an item into like its what would you call it?
Some of its components.
Yeah.
Like you were saying with the weapon upgrades to get 3 of the good things.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. So, and by this point, you probably have 2 crowns and a tiara now or whatever. And if you dismantle those, if you master them and dismantle them, you get the Hermes sandals. Which
Classic.
upgrade to the speed shoe, which is auto haste. And so we're at the point in the game where we can have fucking auto haste now, which I absolutely
who the fuck
created.
Needs the Fortisol or the fucking other one that it actually has haste.
Which I will say before because people who have played 13 know what area is next. I did not permit myself to use them for the next boss. Just FYI, I was like, no, I have to do this right. But then after that, I absolutely did.
Dude, yeah, auto haste is, as soon as I got hasted Final Fantasy X, I was like, well, this game's easy now. Like, I can do 7 moves with Titus before the enemy has a chance to do one thing.
I love it.
And then still Seymour Flux fucked me up, but hey.
But yeah, we're at that point now where we can do that. So that's
nice. That's amazing.
Super awesome.
That's good to know. Also, I think the Tetra defense is a really good thing. I think I had to use that on one of my party members for one of these fights where it was just like, oh yeah, like it's...
It would come handy on this fight in particular because he uses all 4 elements.
Yep.
But yeah, so after the battle's over, Fang points at the part of the tower that's knocked over.
Yeah, we get to see a cool cutscene of Dahaka just erupting into sparks and phasing out, which I was like, I thought we needed to like do the thing that Dicely told us to do to kill a Fal'Cie, but I think by my count, Alex
we fought to win.
Yeah, by my count, we've already killed 2. Like with Anima, like Alex reminded me. It's like, I'm like, wait, Dicely's just fucking lying more than Vanille does, dude.
I think we can't kill Dicely specifically because he's like making doubles and shit like that because he's always like teleporting and transforming.
Yeah,
but I think we can kill a Fal'Cie, which we can get into that discussion in a couple episodes because it will become a discussion and I don't know exactly how to translate what they're saying.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah.
I'm checking the data logs here and it says, can I kill a Fal'Cie? And it just says, yes.
Yes. Yeah. He really does just fucking dissolve though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He just
and I was like, oh, and we see the elevator come back up in a cool way, and
it's funny. I was like, how's this gonna work? Because the track is is like upside down.
Yeah, it's cool because so the part of the tower that's knocked over and is aiming out into the distance or whatever, it still has a working elevator, and we see the elevator roll up to where we are, even though I guess, according to the tower's original position, it's going down in floors. But yeah.
Where it broke off, basically, so it just like went to where the track starts at the broken point. It's really funny.
Up is officially down.
Exactly. Yeah, in this part, yeah.
I mean, the inside can spin on its own, so I guess it can just orient however it needs to be.
Yeah.
Someone says like, it's like, oh, look who's back, Snow says, and we see something appear in front of us. I was like, oh yeah, there's my answer. Like, we didn't kill the Fal'Cie because we can't without, whatever. And then I was like, oh no, this is one of our homies that we helped out.
The big statues, yeah.
What? Yeah.
And Vanille's like, he's saying thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it murmurs something kind of in an ethereal way, and Fang says, "At last we are free."
Yeah, she like kind of tilts her head a little bit. We go now to hunt down evil where it hides.
And Hope's, I guess, takes that like, so I guess that means there's still more monsters like that out there.
Yeah.
And like, sounds like it somewhere out there on Grand Pulse.
I was like, this is so fucking ominous where they're like, we must now we fight, we are free now to hunt down evil. And I'm like, okay, but what is your take on what evil is? Do you think we're evil? Are you then going to just fight us? Like, I got nervous.
Well,
it's going to just vaporize Atomos.
Yeah, he just like leaves, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, sick.
I don't. So obviously, like I've gone on record for being like, oh, the back half of 13 is a little weirdly put together sometimes. I find it odd that like these guys pop in and then they're like, thank you for freeing us. We go now to fight evil, and then they're just gone forever. And you're like,
My planet needs me.
wait, yeah, my planet needs me. And they just, and they're gone forever. And I was like, what a weird thing to include like in your game. They're just gone. Don't care about them.
We'll read more about them in like 13.2 or like, oh yeah,
maybe
these giants
maybe.
are just wrecking shit on Pulse or whatever.
One thing I haven't done is read through the data logs in 13.2, which we'll be playing next season.
But yeah, gone just like that. For a big hunk of rock, that thing can sure move.
Yeah.
Guess they're just doing what they can too. Trying to save the world.
Yeah, well, it's not all on them. Last time I checked, we are still in this fight.
Yes.
Indeed we are, Lightning.
Nice.
And we'll catch you next week
Ending
on the
on a
Every
nice,
FNFF
hopeful
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, like this cutscene technically continues, but we're just gonna stop it right there.
We're gonna
let's stop
leave
on
on
the
a
upper.
positive high note.
Yeah.
Everything's looking up, and by up I mean the elevator.
And by up, I mean we're looking down, and when we're looking down, oh no.
Yeah. We're looking at the towers up, which is down and forward.
Yeah.
See, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, the 50
It is, we are
degree
neither
angle.
right nor left, but we do happen to agree with everything that Dicely has said. In a non-political way. We just think he's
I just think he's neat.
Just facts and logic.
God damn
See,
it.
the tower's like a metaphor. When things are going up, they're actually going down.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa, man.
I'm trying. What is the second line here? Hold on. I'm gonna do a real quick Japanese translation.
Where were you looking in the script?
Japanese to English. Where she's like, last time I checked, we're also in this fight or whatever. Yeah, and I mean, it's similar enough, but it's not like the same, which is why I was like, what? Because the first line, instead of like, well, it's not all on them. Last time I checked, we're still in this fight. She's like, we are also fighting. We are fighting. Like it's just like the same thing twice.
We are
Like,
fighting on a mission. What's the Rocket Power theme song?
Yeah, we are riders on a mission.
we are fighting.
I can't wait until we get Tito on our team.
That's right. The only thing I remember about Rocket Power, I never want. Wait, that's what you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing I remember from Rocket Power, because I never really watched it, but there was one line that has stuck with me forever or whatever, where like the blonde kid,
The squid.
is he's like walking out of his house, and his mom's like, oh, you know what they say, and then like says some kind of like, you know, some kind of a like passed down saying, and he goes, who says that? And she goes, you know, they. And that's when the scene ends, and I was like,
That's very ominous.
yeah.
Can't believe they made Rocket Power woke by adding pronouns.
Well,
That was a
I
whole lot of Final
suppose
Fantasy today.
that's a lot of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, we got a lot farther than I thought we were.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited for more too. This game can be infuriating at times with some of the battles, but it's so much fun.
Next week,
We'll be doing Final Fantasy IX.
we're going to get to the boss of bosses in Final Fantasy games. I'm excited for all of us to first try them and just get right through them and be like, I don't know what the big deal is. But if it's anything like, not this time, but the last time I played FF13, I got so fucking mad I quit playing. I said, like, I don't want to get to the end of the game that bad. So that's next episode. Baby, how exciting.
Very exciting.
I'm very excited.
Y'all got anything going on outside of this game?
MagFest.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to be running Dark Souls at MagFest. I don't think they announced the full schedule yet, but we got like a little spreadsheet of what they're tentatively going to be. So it's looking like I might be the last run of the Saturday night at MagFest.
Oh, very nice.
So maybe closing it out. We'll see.
Very good.
I might be playing a show this Sunday.
Nice.
That same Sunday night. So if you're not in DC, come see us.
I have nothing going on. I'm being very boring right now.
How many tummy aches?
I've had all these tummy aches. I'm doing a very fun activity called revamping my Twitch stream layout. So you can come see that whenever I decide to stream it.
Curtis is doing the very fun thing of planting seeds in my head to do a collab to get me back into making music of some kind, which who knows if that'll happen. I think it will. I got some ideas.
I'll make the split, the foul split. You pussy.
See, now if I don't do it, Curtis is just calling me a pussy.
Episode ruined. Thought we were ending on a high note.
Yeah. Well, Alex, that creature has stolen my power. Go defeat it so that I may open the way for you.
Thank you to Masashiyama Uzu, especially for the jaw harp in this area.
Oh, hell yes, dude.
Eerie and twangy. And if you're behind the cool Taejin Tower jingle, that's also very cool. Leave us a review and rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or leave us a comment on our YouTube, wherever you're listening to us. You can call us or text us at 530-MATERA, as did Strong last week. Thank you for calling in.
We do we do listen to every call, too. We don't always mention them or play them on the show, but we do listen to everything and read all of them, so I really do appreciate everybody doing that, so continue to do so.
I have a lot of stuff going through my head every week, so I totally sometimes forget about it. So sorry if I don't get to it.
Well, it emails all of us, so one of us gets to it.
We'll have a huge episode one time where we just go through all of them from all seasons.
Post your cringe. You can follow us or find us at every FNFF on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and hop on our Discord. And don't worry, this podcast will be her last. I'll make sure of that.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.